Make our devices work for us, doggone it.
And finally, the perfect email program for the iPad.
As well as some new apps for Mac OS.
It's all coming up next on iOS Today.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
iOS Today is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy with one click. It's that easy. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to expressvpn.com/iOS Today. And by Zapier. Zapier connects all your business software and handles the work for you so you can focus on what matters most. Right now, through November, go to zapier.com/iOS for your free 14-day trial. And by Plex. With Plex, you can organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, and photos anywhere on any device. Plex is offering Twit listeners a 30-day free trial of Plex Pass. That gives you access to all their premium features, too. Go to plex.tv/twit and enter the code TWIT to start your free trial today. That's right, I forgot Catalyst time. It's Catalyst time. Bring on the marzipan.
Oh, yeah, marzipan.
Whoa!
I was waiting.
Woo! The finger of God has spoken. Welcome to iOS Today. That's Mikah Sargent.
And that is Leo Laporte.
And this is the show where we cover iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, Apple TV, everything that Apple used to say was iOS.
Boo-boo.
In fact, soon, CarPlay.
Yes.
About that.
Oh, I'm so excited about CarPlay.
Our head unit is going to be, so we could show you how the iPhone will work on your car too. So this is we want to cover everything you can do with everything that Apple makes except the Mac.
Except
basically.
We are going to talk a little bit about the Mac because it's stuff coming from iOS to the Mac.
Catalina.
Ooh-yah.
So that's macOS 10.15.
Uh-huh.
And it came out yesterday. Everybody was quickly updating and getting the latest version on there. We'll talk more about that on Mac Break Weekly a little later on today.
Yes.
But there is a kind of a iOS-related story there.
Yeah. So there are apps that are coming from the iOS App Store, the iOS ecosystem, to the Mac through the magic that is Marzipan, a.k.a. Catalyst.
It was originally codenamed Marzipan. When they released it, I guess because of Catalina, they decided to change the name to Catalyst. And it makes it so that a developer who's writing an iOS app can push a button, essentially, check a box in Xcode, and make a Mac version of it. And there's a little bit more to it than that. But not every app will come. Of course, Apple last version of macOS in Mojave introduced a couple of them already. I think was it the Stocks app. It was all apps I don't use, the weather app, whatever. But now we're going to start to see, I expect to see a flood. I hope to see a flood of iOS apps on your Mac because it's fairly easy for developers to do.
Yeah, no, I've lost the page, but there was a nice handy page that showed some of the new apps that are coming over. But I've actually gotten my favorite weather app.
Snark Weather?
Carrot Weather is available on the Mac now.
That's great.
I love that.
That's great.
I love having Carrot everywhere because Carrot is my complication on my watch. Carrot has my weather in the little swipey thing on the iPhone and on iPadOS. And now it's also available on your Mac. There's also, and I find this a fascinating one. I didn't know that this existed, but there's this app that part of the problem with the Wallet app on iOS is that you can't get all of your things into the Wallet app. So I come from the Midwest, and there are Walgreens literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Walgreens is everywhere.
Yeah, and I think for a long time, Walgreens did not want to support Apple Pay. They kind of thought they were going to do their own thing, which involved the exchange of QR codes, which sounds to me unsafe.
Yeah, and cumbersome.
But they finally gave in.
And
Jinx.
oh, darn it. What do I owe you?
A Coke.
Okay, I'll think about it. You don't need that. We don't need that. Nobody needs that. Have you seen how much sugar is in Coke? Don't do it. So, well, if you're cutting your Coke, then there's a lot of sugar in it. Anyway, so the Walgreens finally gave in, and lovely was being able to go into a Walgreens and tap, and not only did it pay for whatever it was, but it also went ahead and got my card, my Walgreens card involved in the whole process.
See, that's kind of cool because you put that in your wallet.
Yes.
That's
so it
cool.
all happened at once. Then I come to California thinking I'm coming to a great place of wonderful things.
This is where Apple was born.
And first I met with something called the Sonoma Aroma, which no one warned me about.
I warned you about it.
You did not.
Oh, no, I warned Ann about it.
Yeah, you didn't tell me.
I forgot to warn you about it.
Then I met with...
It's a farm community.
Then, you know what? I don't remember what number 2 was. Oh, way too expensive.
You will when you smell the Aroma. You'll remember.
Haircuts that cost me $30 more than they did where I come from.
Yeah.
And third, but
it's a nice haircut.
It is a nice haircut.
Okay.
Third, I met with no Walgreens anywhere. I got to go to CVS now.
There are Walgreens in San Francisco. There are Walgreens.
Where am I,
you're
though?
right. We're in up here.
Yeah.
It's a CVS
up here,
land.
It's CVS land.
Yeah.
And CVS has this antiquated system
don't do it.
where you got to go into the app and just scan a barcode.
Yeah.
So there's all of this
sad.
is to say there is an app now that was on iOS that I didn't like as much on iOS, but it's on macOS now, and it lets you make wallet passes out of barcodes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's only 99 cents, and I wish I could remember the name of
That is awesome.
I'm going to...
So now you can, with one tap at CVS, you get your CVS card automatically involved in the thing.
Yes.
That is see, that's inspiring. That's
I agree.
That's thinking. Somebody's thinking.
That's thinking.
Somebody's itchy and they scratched it.
boy, howdy, did they ever scratch it.
I love that.
Yeah, and so
I'm stalling while he searches
Thank
for
you.
this app.
Yeah, because I had it and I did not save it. So there are a few developers, however, who are saying, look,
We're not happy.
Don't really want to be a part of this Catalyst thing.
Because it raises issues. For instance, I paid for a lot of these apps on iOS.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay again if I'm going to use them on macOS? Well, there's no way not to do that.
Which is unfortunate. There's Carrot Weather, $14.99.
Let me ask you, because I haven't tried this yet. Are these apps, do they feel like iOS apps, just kind of stuck onto your Macintosh? Or
Carrot has done a good job of making an app that feels at home on the Mac. I will say there was a buggy. I had one alert that popped up and it didn't go the right way that it was supposed to. So there are some bugs to iron out still. And I will say too that I am not running the release version of Catalina. I'm running a beta, so that could be why there are some layout issues.
Well, you will be running you're now running the final version, and we'll talk about this on MacBreak Weekly, but you can turn off the betas and make sure you're
Yes,
on the
exactly. Yeah.
By the way, here's an example, and Scooter X is passing this along. You paid $5 for Carrot Weather on your iPad or iPhone, $15 on your Mac. Was it worth it? That means you paid a total of $20 to get carrots everywhere.
Let's see, was it worth it?
That seems like a lot.
No. I think for the average person with the weather information that they need, it's not worth it. I am a ridiculous human being who wants to have that same sort of experience on all the different platforms, and I have seen Carrot is looking at some ways to sort of integrate the Mac app with the iOS app.
I didn't know this, but there's tier 2 and tier 3 membership. So they're saying if you're a tier 2 or 3 member, you will get it on Mac, but that's because you paid so much for it on iOS.
On iOS, yeah. Well, and it's a subscription. So that's interesting. Maybe I need to go look at that because I am a tier 3 member.
Oh yeah.
So and have been for
free.
a while.
It should be free.
So I should get it for free.
Yeah.
So the app is called Make Pass, barcode to wallet.
That's fantastic.
And this app, like I said, you basically get to create your own passes and make them look however you want to here. You can see.
Oh, you could even do it with airplane tickets.
Yes.
Nice.
Bus passes, all sorts of things. And the reason for this, folks might be going, well, why would I want to do this? It's because I can double tap on the home button, or the side button rather.
Pay at CVS.
And then choose, see, I've still got my baby Walgreens
there's your
card
Walgreens card, yeah.
that I can't use.
You got a $2 balance.
Points. that I can't use. So anyway, then it would be available here. I could easily show it as opposed to having to unlock my phone.
You still have to show it.
The CV, sorry, yeah. But to unlock my phone, find the CVS app.
Have to go to a separate
tap into the thing, and then go to the barcode.
Nice.
This is
That's
immediately
really
available.
nice.
And you can also set it up with locations so that it will automatically present itself at certain locations. Just like when I go by a Starbucks, my wallet pass will automatically be recommended. In the Make Pass app, you can say, hey, when I'm near X location, give me that recommendation for that to show up. So I set it for the CVS that I go to, and then when I'm near a CVS, it'll pop up on my home screen automatically and say, this is probably the pass you want to use here.
Can I ask you one more question?
You may.
How do you get it onto your iPhone? Because one of the things that's changed is how we connect our devices to our computers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to sync it to your iPhone, or is it?
Well, when you go into, if I can make this happen, when you go into the Wallet app,
Yeah.
and you tap the plus button,
Yeah.
then it's going to ask me if I want to be part. Okay, this is not.
You could add it by taking a picture of it?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to edit
Got it.
passes.
The same way you'd add any other card.
Yeah, then scan code.
Got it.
And then
the
boom.
code will be on the screen.
Yeah, and because
That's
it's
great.
a particular code that's set up, it will make that whole pass available. It has all that data in there.
That's another thing we should mention is that the new Catalina is going to change if you are still connecting your iOS device to your computer for syncing and backup. It's going to change how that works as well.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Apple's for a while now encouraged everybody to use Wi-Fi to do that. So you don't have to hook up. It'll back up over Wi-Fi. It'll sync over Wi-Fi. And I think that was the right thing to do. There is, some people don't want to do it because one of the side effects of that is you end up probably buying more iCloud storage, probably why Apple wanted you to do it in the first place. But if you're still connecting via cable, whether it's to back up your iPhone, it's, by the way, when you get a new iPhone, for instance, the fastest, quickest way to set up the new iPhone is to back up the old phone via a cable to your computer and then restore to the new phone. That'll get you up and running faster than any other method, including, the iCloud backup. So you may still want to do this, but you're not going to be launching iTunes anymore. There is no more iTunes.
No iTunes.
There's music, there's podcasts, there's TV. They split it up into 3 apps. But the thing you want, the syncing thing, is no longer any app. And this was inevitably going to confuse people. In fact, I had a caller on the radio show say, well, how can I back up my iPhone now? Look in your menu bar. There is now, when you connect your iPhone, going to be an icon in the menu bar for the syncing. It's the same. It's essentially the same icon, same settings that you saw on iTunes, but they've moved it up to the menu bar.
Or you can launch Finder and go on the left. The sidebar on the left will show the name of your device.
Show the device.
You click
that might
on
be more natural because that's kind of what iTunes looks like.
And it makes it look almost exactly like iTunes.
Yeah.
So I find that to be the easiest way to go about making sure that you've got it synced.
I like menu items, but if you looked at my Macintosh menu bar, it's...
Oh, God. You don't use Bartender?
I'll have a daiquiri, please.
Bartender? Would you
What is
please bring
bartender?
me a lovely...
Well, save that for Mac Break Weekly.
I'm not on that show. I'm going to send it to you so that can be your pick of the week this
Bartender will be
week.
my pick of the week. I don't
You're going to love it.
I have bad experiences going back through Mac OSs with things that modify the menu bar, not using Apple's, not doing the Apple way.
Give it a try.
Apple often deprecates those techniques and they break and they stop working.
They haven't done it
Hey,
yet.
you just airdropped me something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Bartender.
Bartender has not been broken yet.
Well,
I can't live. It is after my password manager. Bartender's the next thing I always install.
so
on
what
the
it
Mac.
does is collapses that complex. Oh yeah, look at that. It puts it down to
into
3 dots.
one, or you can
Because I
change this
literally,
icon.
if I open any application, I lose menu items. I have so many menu items that the app menu just says, well, get those out of here, and I can't access them.
And you can change that. I have it as a star. It's just a black star.
Nice.
And all of those go away. You can
That's
even
great.
adjust
you can
how
show
they...
this, John, on the screen, because it is, I know it's iOS today, but here's your little Mac tip of the week.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, I can't live without it.
Yeah.
It's silly, but it makes it easier.
Well, my menu bar is kind of full. I got iStat menu and all that stuff in there, and it just goes all the way over to the right.
And there are some things you want to leave out that are always available, and you can set it up to do that, and then some that are easy to tuck away.
This is a good idea. Good tip. So, in a way, what's happening here is really what Apple wants to happen, which is a kind of, I think, somewhat of a merging between macOS and iOS.
Yes, and they always kind of talked about, no, there will never be a day when they both are the same and yada, yada, yada. But look at all of the developers that are creating apps for the iOS platform and now the iPadOS platform that don't have the ability financially or drive or desire or whatever, all of those things to bring their apps to the Mac. Well, now this is an option. And in fact, my favorite, James Thompson, my favorite developer who makes the pCalc calculator, I should say one of my favorite developers.
We have
many of you. Already Dice by pCalc is available as a Catalyst
That's
app.
his multi-sided dice app for Dungeons and Dragons.
Which is on the Apple Watch, which is on iOS, iPadOS.
It is $1.99, but I guess it's cheaper than a 20-sided die.
That's true, yeah.
So there you go. That's great. I'm glad to see that that people are doing that. I'm a little nervous about what that's going to make macOS look like. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, I'm a little nervous about the future of macOS in general.
I think they're kind of iterating in out in the open and getting some feedback from these early developers. And we'll see as that continues. Now, I will say too, I just opened up my Mac and clicked on the App Store and clicked on Arcade, and Arcade is available on the Mac right now. So,
not all the games,
right? The ones that are
not all the games
could
be ported.
The app,
and
WASD.
Much like WASD. Well, no, because much like iPad, now you can use your Xbox controller or your PlayStation 4 controller with your Macintosh.
Which I like. I think that's great.
Well, honestly, how many, maybe I'm just unusual, but I've got a lot of old PlayStations lying around. I got a lot of old controllers. At one point, we cleaned house and we put all the controllers on the coffee table. It filled.
Oh, my word.
So I have plenty of leftover controllers. I hope that I can use some of the older ones. It looks like you have to have the PS4 shock
You should
controller.
test them.
But I'm going to test
them.
I'll let you know. If it's Bluetooth, it should work, right?
Then we can do a giveaway.
Yeah, Leo's controller giveaway.
Some of your controllers.
You weren't here the last time we did that, but I've had a garage sale, kind of a traditional yearly garage sale in the. Nothing's for. It's all free. I don't make people pay for it, but I take all this old crap because I have a ton of it. I go through stuff like crazy, and I put it in the kitchen.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for us? I thought you meant for fans.
No.
You're talking about for us.
If there were anything left over after the vultures who work here descended on it, maybe I'd leave it for the fans.
Listen, actually, I don't know what I need to do, but make sure that I get priority access to that VR thing that you...
Anything you need, my friend, get in line.
Oh, wait, no, I get priority access to the doggone key to your bunker.
We'll talk about that at another time. I really want to get to the topic of the day. We're going to talk about shortcuts in just a little bit, and we have a very special guest who is going to walk us through making a shortcut.
So fun.
In fact, making a shortcut I needed desperately. But
we
first,
both needed.
We both needed for different reasons. But first, a word from our sponsor, the great ExpressVPN. I think anybody who watches our shows or listens probably has a pretty good idea of why you need a VPN, a virtual private network, especially on an open Wi-Fi access point that other people are using. It's easy for hackers to bypass Wi-Fi security. Flaws like crack, KRACK, the key installation attack, can make it trivial. Just read an article that says you must use a VPN if you're on an open Wi-Fi access point. But many people use them at home and in other places because a VPN, a virtual private network, does two things. It protects your security from hackers and bad guys who can see you on the network and mess with you on the network, mess with your traffic or mess with your machine. But it also protects your privacy. It keeps other people on the network, including your internet service provider, from seeing where you're going and what you're doing. So security and privacy, that's a virtual private network. But here's the important point with any VPN. All of that security and privacy, you're just kicking the can down the road. It's the VPN provider now who gets all that traffic, who can see what you're doing, who can sell what you're doing. And on some free VPNs, low-cost VPNs, they're even injecting ads into your traffic to monetize. It's really important if you're choosing a virtual private network to choose a great VPN provider. People ask me this all the time. Who do you recommend? I recommend ExpressVPN. for a couple of reasons. First of all, ExpressVPN is fast. They have servers all over the world. You get to choose where in the world you want to emerge. People love to do that because it gets around geographic restrictions on some content. But it also means that you're hiding your location. So if you're going somewhere and you don't want them to know that you're where you are in the US or wherever you are, you can say, well, no, I want to emerge in the UK. And they won't know where you are. So that's another great privacy restriction. ExpressVPN also does the thing that's most important from your point of view. They don't you save your information. They don't use your information. They don't inject ads. They don't modify your stream in any way. They're number one trusted leader in VPN. Trusted is the key word. In fact, they have this great trusted server security that the VPN server you're using is running in a sandbox that literally prevents it from saving any data to the server. It cannot, even if they told it to, log your traffic. They run in RAM. There are no data logs. There's not even by accident. And we know this works because ExpressVPN has been subpoenaed in many countries for the information. They can't hand it over. There are even countries like Turkey, where they didn't bother with a search warrant. They just went and got the servers without warning, and still there was nothing on them.
This is that trusted server technology, right? I nerded out about that for sure, because one of the things that's super cool is they have it set up so that every single time one of these servers gets kicked back on, because when it goes off, it's random access memory, so it goes away. It's all volatile, so it goes away. When it kicks back on, they reinstall the operating system on every single one of these servers. So it's always the freshest, newest.
It's so brilliant. And by the way, they have been audited. Third-party audit just completed a few weeks ago. Said, yes, trusted server works exactly as they say. No, ExpressVPN keeps no personal information, and they do what they say they're going to do. They live up to their privacy policy. You want that third-party audit. That's really important. It's not a surprise. ExpressVPN is the #1 VPN provider on Tech Radar. CNET just named it #1. We've been using it for a long time. Highly recommend it. They take your security, your privacy to the next level. I want you to try them. In fact, we've got a good deal for you. 1-year package, you get it 3 extra months, but you have to go to expressvpn.com/iOS today. You get 3 months extra, it's like a 25% discount. 3 months extra when you buy a year package at expressvpn.com/iOS today. Don't wonder which VPN service to use. Just use ExpressVPN. expressvpn.com/iOS. today. All right, it's time for our special guest. Catalina came out yesterday. We had to talk about it a little bit, but today we're not going to talk about Catalina. We're going to talk about
automation. We have been sort of dancing around like Cinderella, the automation stuff. You know, just little birds are lighting on our finger that are automation, and we acknowledge them, and then we let them flit away again. And so we thought, you know what? Let's go all the way. Let's go to the ball. So we called up the fairy godmother of automations.
Here he is appearing in his globe. It's Matthew Cassinelli, hello. The king of shortcuts. Hello, Matthew. Also host, we should mention, of Smart Tech Today.
Smart Tech
STT, which just launched yesterday. You got to check it out at twit.tv/STT. Yes. Really great show with you and Matthew. Audio only right now, but I promised you, if you get 30,000 subscribers, we'll do the video version. And these guys are good looking. You want to see them. So
so if you're out there and you're listening, go ahead and give it a subscription. Again, twit.tv/STT.
You can subscribe right there.
Subscribe and check it out. Let us know what you think.
So Matthew actually became the king of shortcuts in an interesting, circuitous route.
Yeah.
Tell us
the inside, huh?
Sure. I originally learned through reading Mac stories, as I think a lot of people learned about
Vichici's great blog.
And back in the day, it was workflow, and this is all before shortcuts or Siri Shortcuts ever existed. But I basically knew about workflow and could tell it was really complicated, and learned from a lot of just like the different things that you could go through. And I was like, I think other people would want to learn this too. And I think at the time it was only engineers. So I basically applied to the team and was like, I want to help you guys.
You went to work for them?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I lucked out there because...
because my reaction to workflow was, this is too complicated, forget it. So I'm glad you didn't. You went the other way.
Yeah. I think for me, it was the most accessible form of like actual programming that I had ever seen, because I never like learned to code or anything like that. I worked in marketing, so forgive me also if I do sound like I'm pitching it now, because I sort of practiced that for a while.
Buzzword.
Apple
yeah,
bought workflow.
Yeah, that was incredibly lucky timing, I would say. But basically, it became from like a 5-person team to the largest corporation in the world. And so I was a little bit looking for that freedom of working on my own. And so I ended up filling out the contract for workflow support because I didn't want to leave people hanging, and then basically built like thousands of workflows for people in that time. But then now I'm independent and I write for iMore. I write on my blog at MatthewCassinelli.com. And then I do YouTube videos and it's Matthew Cassinelli, and it's Cassinelli, if anybody can't spell it. But yes, Italian, I think it does make you a little bit better at shortcuts. So, but yeah, basically now I'm trying to share all about shortcuts because it's kind of like I know it so well. I know it in and out, and it's almost like a shame that nobody else seems, except for maybe Federico, seems to be getting into it. And I will say that last year, the Shortcuts app, once Apple brought it over, it was very similar to Workflow, which was great for me, but I think a lot of people still found it a little inaccessible. And then this year, they redesigned it. So every action reads in plain text instead of more like a function, and it's a lot easier. And it also works all throughout Siri now, so it's very cool.
Yeah, and so, I think that we have spent some time playing around with it, certainly, and have a few shortcuts, a few automations that we've put in place, and know a little bit about it, but actually digging into it and sort of I've seen, I've looked at your Twitter, and I've seen someone like hit you up and they say, oh yeah, I'm working on this, but can I do this? And you just pop out like everything they need to do to make it work, to fix a shortcut that's not working, etc. And so obviously, we thought with the automation episode, we should chat with you. And I want to start with an automation or a shortcut that Leo needs desperately more than anything. And I need desperately so that I can have some peace of mind in the morning that my good pal, my good bud, and my good boo-boo has not driven off the side of the road by accident. And,
really? That's what you think?
Yeah. I'm like,
you don't think
is Leo
that.
not going to make it today?
I'm sitting in the hot tub going, it's 9:15. Should I go to work? Nah.
See, I don't like to think that.
Oh.
Because I
ran off the road.
Have you heard that song by Beyonce? It's called Resentment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like resentment.
You don't want no scrubs?
I don't want no scrubs, Leo.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure you're okay. And Matthew...
I love it that you think that. I'm okay. I'm just having an extra piece of bacon. You don't mind.
I think that with everybody. Anytime someone's like, if they're late and I don't know what's going on.
I shouldn't be late. It's rude.
Oh, God, someone's in a ditch somewhere.
It's rude. And I try every single Tuesday to get here in time. I look at my watch. I go, oh, it's 8 o'clock. Time to start getting ready. One more cup of coffee for the road. And then I look at the watch again. It's 8:45. What the hell?
I thought it was just a cup of coffee.
How did that happen? So
how are you going to make me not have anxiety in the morning about Leo's safety, Matthew?
Well, see, this is, and I've asked, by the way, for this for a long time. I want a way that without any effort, that's the key, I could put this on my phone and it would automatically, as I leave the house, send a note to Mikah and the staff saying, Leo's on his way. It'd be really nice if it gave them some sort of sense of my ETA or even a map showing my progress. I'm only 7 minutes away, so it would be enough just to say Leo left.
Yeah.
So let's see. What have you got for us?
Sure. And definitely, I will say, I heard you say this. I wasn't like, man, Leo's always late. I should build that shortcut.
Yeah,
you did request it
on iOS.
Yeah, and so honestly, I didn't think Apple gave you the means to do it.
There's sort of a mix of ways that you can do it, and I will say actually there is like a whole new ETA feature in CarPlay that can do something similar like this.
I don't have CarPlay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does require a brand new car. So that's generally not
a brand new car.
You've got a new car.
There's his first step. get a new car.
I could live with that.
But basically, there's a get travel time action in Shortcuts. And do you want me to show it and everything?
How should we do it? Do you
Or-
have it or
I don't think I can
you
easily
have it,
show it
Mikah, on
without
your-
just like.
I don't know if I have that one.
I have the tweet. I can send it to you that has the link in it.
Okay, yeah,
you-
do that.
In fact, this would be a good opportunity to show our viewers and explain to our listeners how you can install shortcuts other people have written. Because that is often the best way to do this. There are websites like Matthew's, like Federico Vitici's Mac Stories. There are Reddit subreddits that are devoted to shortcuts. And all of them will say, I've got a great shortcut that is this. We should also mention that in this process, that there is some risk involved, that before you run a shortcut you download from a source, even a well-trusted source like Matthew, you should look at all the steps to make sure it doesn't do things like send credit card number to Matthew Cassinelli.
So Apple did think about this, which is good. And there's actually like a lot of layers of protection in front of adding third-party shortcuts.
Yeah.
Where when you first add one, it will be like, oh, you don't have permission to add this. Go check in settings on whether you allow untrusted shortcuts. And it doesn't tell you where in settings that is. It's just kind of like figure it out. And so I have
look what happened.
Yeah, look, Leo
what
tried to
happened.
install
It
it
said
and-
Leo is leaving, can't be opened. This shortcut, that's the one that opened it. This is the one that didn't mind. This shortcut cannot be opened because your shortcut security settings don't allow untrusted shortcuts. So that's fantastic. That means that you're being warned. Now, on the other hand, if you're downloading shortcuts, you're going to turn that feature off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
show me how I
to
do that first. Where do I do that? Yeah. Set
One
settings.
thing first is, have you run a couple shortcuts first? Because you do have to, this is another layer where you can't just like never have used shortcuts and then add one. You have to run some before that setting will even show up, which is pretty intense.
How many do I have to run?
Probably just one, and just download it real quick and just like play it real
I have
quick.
some. I actually have some shortcuts.
Yeah.
Let's
Now
go out
that's
of the gallery
interesting.
and go into shortcuts here real quickly, because that opened up the shortcut gallery, and I do have some shortcuts. These are that was my
bottom
gallery.
left.
Bottom
Yeah,
left.
on the-
That was my. Here it is. I have a lot of them. Some of these are
Oh,
from.
look, he tried. There's running late.
Oh, I have a lot of them. Are you kidding? You'll find a bunch of them. Text Megan. He's not on his way. You'll find a bunch of these. Let's say
Airdrop random meme.
some of these, by the way, are Siri shortcuts. You will notice when, for instance, when I install my banking app, it said, hey, there's a couple of shortcuts you could add. View my transactions, view my accounts. Here's tell Megan I'm late. Let's just see what happens if I send running late on my way to Megan Maroney. I should send that just for her.
Yeah.
Just to make her feel better. Well, and
now you'd have to confirm that one.
oh, see, now this is another thing I don't like. I mean, that's better than nothing. And
There's
that,
a toggle.
that's
in
the
There
one
is a
I
way to
used.
turn that off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've now run a shortcut. I wasn't
So
my,
now if you
wasn't
go
my
into
first
the
time to
settings
shortcut
app.
rodeo. Go into settings, okay, and go down to shortcuts, right? Siri, is it Siri and search, or is it does it have
No,
its
it's
own?
got its own category, and it is a default app now, so it's one of the main. It's not like down
Show
below
my
in the main
screenshot.
list.
Okay, so I pretended not to know where it is, but then eventually I said, all right, and I tapped it. Now it says allow shortcuts to access location. I bet I want to turn that on, right? Not ask.
Yeah.
Let's say while
should-
using the app.
I think it gets location access anywhere, so I'm not sure why it only says using the app. but-
Okay. iCloud
Yeah.
Sync. Yeah, we like that. Sync shortcut order. Yeah, that's so I can drag it around on my phone and it'll appear here. Here we go. Allow untrusted shortcuts. We're going to do that. Apple does not review shortcuts outside of the gallery. It could put your personal data at risk. Allow. So that's the first step.
And there's a passcode.
You
It's
even
pretty
have to
intense.
enter your passcode, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as it should be because,
Well,
one failed passcode attempt. I only get 10 of these. So if my iPad there, whew, all right. So that's the thing. I've done that now.
Yes.
So can
Yes.
you want me to drop that
drop
to you
it
again?
to me again?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is another thing. If you see somebody who has a really nice shortcut, you say, hey, airdrop it to me. It'll say, add this shortcut. Now, very important, review the contents.
Always review it.
Yes.
So,
This is the other level.
Th-
And you
and
can
this is
change the
nice.
name right there if you want.
yeah, right now it says Leo is leaving. Get current location. Get maps from, okay, so I'm going to review it, and I'm going to say, okay, it doesn't send my credit card number to Matthew Cassinelli. I think it's okay. So I'm going to add untrusted shortcut. You already have it.
Then go ahead and tap the plus, because that's going to choose me. You want to say, who do you want it to text before each iOS Today episode?
Okay, so we should go through the shortcut and show how this happens, because that is an important feature in shortcuts. You can say, pause, let the user input some data, and then continue on. So
it's
we're going to do that.
It's called import questions, and it's in the setting of each individual shortcut.
So we're going to show you how to do that, because but first I have to add Mikah Sargent to my contact list. I don't think I have.
Ouch.
Well,
I'm kidding. I think I'm in there, because
you
we
can
had to
type
do
in contact info too.
there's Martin Sargent. Are you any relation? Mikah Sargent. No. Okay. Done. Okay. Added to shortcuts. All right, now let's go through it and look at what it does, because I think this, by the way, is the secret to learning any programming language. And while I know Apple, and I'm sure everybody doesn't want me to say this is a programming language, it's a programming language.
It is.
It's designed for humans, but it lets you code.
It's designed for humans, not robots.
Not robots. Like it lets you design programs that will run. It's a programming language, and as anyone will tell you, the best way to learn how to program is to look at other people's code and see how they did it. And Shortcuts makes that very easy.
Inspect element.
Yeah, on the web, that's what you do. So let's go through the shortcut. Let's see. Let me go back to my shortcuts.
In your shortcuts.
It, of course, is the most recent one. So I'm pressing the ... That will open up the actual shortcut.
And you can see now you have to give access on everything that you are going to be using.
Shortcuts
which is nice.
Doesn't currently have access, so I'm going to say allow while using app is the only choice, I guess.
Why did that not?
Is it a bug?
Now it's saying Leo is leaving with like access. So that's
okay. There we go.
I think the first step was I had to tell Shortcuts can do this, and now
this specific
letting this
one.
specific
that
one do
makes
it.
sense.
Same thing. Gets mapped from current location. Okay. How did you do that? Can we look at that a little bit?
Sure. Tap on the icon next to maps, and it'll show you the pop-up. Yeah, the little map icon there. That'll show you the description of the action.
Creates a URL. Okay. By the way, this is a really important thing, and this is one of the reasons that Shortcuts is not easy for a lot of people. Apple has under the hood a complicated scheme for launching other applications that is not normal. In a normal operating system, you just say, open maps.
Right.
But here you don't. And Apple
this one is specific to.
But it's true.
I chose this action.
But it's true for a lot of apps. In fact, Federico just published 120 URLs available.
Yeah, for settings.
In many cases, say you want to open Apple settings and go to a specific setting. You don't do that by saying open settings, go to setting. You use what they call a URL scheme. This was a loophole that Apple left in and developers discovered and started using, and now Apple's embraced it effectively. I think probably because of workflow.
Somewhat. I mean, I think it's sort of slightly inherently insecure, because you basically just like tap a link and then it opens into that app, and that app reads the link and then parses the data at the end, kind of like when you go to a web page, all the additional data is sending you to like a sub page of that site. It's like sending you to a subsection of an app, just using, I think they're generally called deep links is the way that people think about it, because saying URL schemes is extremely nerdy.
But that's what it is. And that's what you will see. So it's important to understand what it is. And you're right, it's inherently insecure, because the application just runs whatever you send it. And so the onus is on the application developer to, they call it sanitize their inputs, to be very careful about how you act on what's being sent to you.
Yeah.
The good news is you're on a very secure platform, and so Apple and the developers are pretty savvy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing that I do think generally they're moving away from URLs and trying to make, like Federico found the links to every single individual section in the settings app. So if you want to go in and like change your camera frames per second, it'll jump right into there.
Right.
In theory, Apple should just make those into Siri shortcuts that do the same thing, but aren't. You don't have to like type in, I think it's like prefs-settings type of stuff.
Silly.
It's pretty.
But Apple, Apple has threatened this for a long time. But as more and more stuff relies on URLs, it's going to be harder and harder to get rid of. They've said for years, we're going to get rid of this. Don't use this. But there is no better way. There is no other way in many cases. And so...
Well, that's what Siri Shortcuts stuff is trying to, I think...
Slowly could eclipse it.
Yeah, exactly. Because then developers can just build it directly.
This is pretty straightforward. Get maps URL from current location. So it's going to generate, it's going to ask the operating system, whereas Leo, it's going to create a URL which it sends to maps. Now, how does that get to here?
Yeah. So one thing also, you might want to switch to light mode because it's kind of hard to see the distinction between actions.
You can't actually see that, can you?
Yeah.
All right. So let me switch over to light mode real quickly. By the way, that's a nice new feature in iOS 13. Did you see that? That's part of the new control settings.
There's a shortcut for it too.
I could have done it in the shortcut.
Well, that's a shortcut.
Yeah, that's probably a little easier than me trying to get Siri to do what I want it to do. So now we can see a little better. Yeah.
I think what's hard about this specific example was I tried to build it based off what you said, where somebody could open the map and see where you are versus, so that doesn't, the maps URL part doesn't necessarily need to be in here. I just kind of like, it's possible. And so that was one of the reasons I added it.
Okay.
But I think what you just ran into that's weird about shortcuts and different from last year is that not all of the actions now need to directly be next to each other in order to connect and pass information from one into the next.
Yeah, that's a big change because it used to be a very linear workflow. Oh, interesting. Where it would go, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. But as programmers know, it's nice to be able to separate stuff out into sections, to have things call other things. A real programming language isn't step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And so Apple is, I think, slowly moving this in that direction. And that adds a lot of, I think, not only functionality, but readability, because you might want to separate stuff out into a section where you could say, this is all the location stuff. Yeah, so I could delete this get maps URL from current location, right?
It'll take it out of the text field later, but And then, I mean, a lot of things is that you can basically see, like in the get travel time action, there's a current location that is pulling from that first location action that we have in there. If you tap on current location and then, I guess it's trying to have you enter in. So this is probably some of your personal information, by the way. I keep running into that.
What the hell? But so you're saying if I X'd out, that's what that little X is for. If I took out this action, it really wouldn't affect the flow.
It shouldn't break anything. Because so what you can see there is that it says current get maps URL from current location.
Right.
And then
it does it again.
Variable, like the output of those actions is now very clear in each action. The last one would just say get maps URL, and then you would have to know that the location was just above it and passing it into that. So now,
what you've done for people who do code is you've set a variable called current location, which can now be used throughout the shortcut.
Yeah, in shortcuts, the output of every action is actually automatically a variable at all times. So programmers always have to like declare, I want to use this again later.
You don't have
Shortcuts just does it for you. And it's actually, and it'll, when you add in new actions, the variable from that one will automatically put it in there. So like if you delete that maps URL action and then re-add it again, it will show you as you're adding it that current location is being used with that.
There we go.
So go maybe like, I think there's a media category in one of those three, or you could just search. Or actually, sorry, it might be location.
Not media, Let's see, location. And then get current location. Is that? Oh, but I want it from maps. So this is
get maps URL. There.
So what is? So the blue thing here means really this is just an operating system function. If we see a maps icon, I'm getting that from maps, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
What? Just get maps URL. Is that what I'm going to do?
Yeah. And then pick it up and don't drop it. Or you can tap to add it, but drag it and then watch it as you drop it. It'll
it automatically
said, you get it from that previous step, don't you?
Yeah, so that's really nice.
I didn't even have to know that.
I
could tap it and change it. I could make it something else. But it's nice that it defaults to, it automatically picks. I said, we have something called current location. Let's use that.
And that's the thing for me where I know you're not in a ditch. If I can tap on the link and see, okay, this is where he is. He's not on the side of the road. Right.
Okay, good.
So that was just like because I was trying to like match the ETA feature there. But the main thing is the get travel time action that's used in the next step.
Third step here.
And then I plugged in Twit Eastside Studio as
by the way,
like a location.
I could also specify, because Maps has this capability, how I'm getting there.
If you decided to walk.
And in this case, I'm driving, so I'm going to leave it driving. And then the next step, text. And now this is, again, filling in information from previous steps, like arrival time, like Maps URL.
Uh-oh.
We deleted that one, so it's now we'd have to replace it. But maybe we.
That's why it's red.
Back. It's up there.
That's why it's red.
It's a different action technically, so you'd have to add it again. So if you, now there's a little keyboard thing in the left that you can, and then now you should be able to delete it. Just pressing the delete key. Yeah, it's a little different when your iPad's on the keyboard
and
itself.
Then put in something else. So here's the variables it does know about.
Yeah, in the bottom left, those are the travel time and Maps URL are the most recent ones. Ask each time, clipboard, current date, and shortcut input are all omnipresent variables. They're always there. So you never actually have to like declare today's date. You can just grab it from there. But if you tap the little variables button on the bottom left in the tray there, it'll expand this so you can see more. Yeah, and it should, in theory, that should show all of the variables from the previous actions that you've used.
This is a list of everything, including the one we want, which is current location.
Yeah, right? Or I guess there was the Maps URL.
Oh, you want a
that
Maps
works.
URL.
Let's do it again. Backspace, and Maps URL is there. Okay.
I think you typed the word "and" in also, but that doesn't totally matter.
That's Leo's signature.
And I'm gonna customize this because I think it should be more personal. Yo, Mikah.
Yeah. There we go.
I am on the way.
Can we put emoji in there too?
Yeah.
I am currently not in a ditch.
Yeah, I am currently here, not in a ditch.
I like that. Currently not in a ditch. I'll be at Twit. Now, here's some more fun stuff. Travel time. I don't see travel time defined here. How do I get travel time?
Well, that's the one above it, the get travel time action.
Oh.
But
get travel time. And it did that. Yeah. Did it name it travel time because of that?
No, that one's one of the main variables from that action. So tap on travel time real quick, the action in the text. Yeah. And then you can see.
This is the action, and these are the things the action can get. The default is travel time, but I could also give you some other information if I wanted to.
And we use the arrival time in the one just
in fact, that's the next one, isn't it?
So that's actually travel time, and I've changed the detail of the travel time to the arrival time. Like Apple was like, oh yeah, we have all this information. We might as well make it available to you, because if you know how long it takes and what time it is now, obviously the arrival time is just math.
Do we know what route name means? What's that about?
That's kind of like, I figured this.
You can have named routes
if there's
on
just
your
multiple
map.
paths. Like, you're taking I-80 versus.
Right. So you can have named routes.
Those things I don't know.
So again, we have to give it permissions to send messages. Whenever you run this shortcut, we'll be able to send messages. Yes, I want to give you that. And it's going to send text to contacts. So I could add more names to this list, which I will do actually. And then it says
that text is just the field up above. Technically, you don't need that text field at all. It's just kind of nice to write in this space.
Right.
And then not like muddy up the messages action.
It would just send the URL.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Or you could send it, you could type here. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Tap show more too, because that's on the messages action. You do have to have show when run toggled off in order to automatically send it, versus what you saw before with Megan Maroney's. It pops up the thing.
That was a good one. Now you may want that or not, but if you want to review the message before you send it, you may want to show when run. But if you want this all to operate without your intervention, turn it off.
So it'd be really handy if you're in the car, you can just say, hey, boo-boo.
Well, that's another nice thing is I can now assign a Siri action, a Siri command to Leo is leaving. That's kind of handy
also
too.
You did add, are you trying to, the name of the shortcut is now the trigger phrase. And that is a little bit weird because you can't change it.
So name
you should just say, I'm leaving, maybe, like.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to say to Siri each time.
So can I rename this here? Yes.
Yeah.
So tell Mikah, this is really what I want it to be. I am, or I'll say I'm leaving. So this would be, hey, Shlomo, tell Mikah I'm leaving. That's that's what you want to think about. You want to name it whatever you want to say to Siri.
I'm kind of bummed that you can't do separate titles from what we want to say to Siri.
It would be really, honestly, what they should add to this ... menu is now assign a Siri shortcut to it. You can customize it, but
this was the import questions that I set up. That
you set
was
those
set
up
to that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Nice.
You can see the import questions button there, and then just under show and share sheet. And then I went into the contact section because I knew that you wanted to customize this.
Yeah.
And so I gave it that little message that says, who do you want to have this text?
This is great if you're creating shortcuts for other people because you want to give them the opportunity to customize it. If you're doing it for yourself, you probably aren't going to do that unless you want to make you can make cookie cutter shortcuts that you use in a variety of ways. And those you could leave that undefined and then each time you copy the shortcut, it would say,
I see. Yeah.
It also overwrites whatever was in that field before. So when you share this with someone, it's not going to give them Micah's phone number or something.
That's really nice.
That's really nice.
Or like your personal address. Yeah. So that is a big problem because if you create an iCloud link for a shortcut, it duplicates it. And so it is like a permanent copy with your home address out on the internet. I mean, you can stop sharing it from the gallery if you reopen that shortcut, but it is like people should do this if you're using any personal information and plan on sharing.
You want to get rid of it. Yeah.
Well, there's one thing we need to do. Earlier, you tapped the Get Maps URL thing and added that at the very bottom here. So we just want to delete that.
Because this was an extra step that we don't really need or want. So I will delete that. Whoops.
For some reason, it's making you tap twice to delete.
Maybe it's like a
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Yes. So it looks like everything is set. Should we try running this?
Yeah.
So I just press the play button down here on the lower right. Or you could say done, and we could even try it with...
Let's try it with
should we try it with, what's her name?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell Mikah I'm late.
Oh, my HomePod's going off.
Yeah, this is why we don't do that. And of course, it decided to make it be on my phone, even though it was way far away, which it really isn't supposed to do. So let me do that. How can I... Let's see, phone face down. Maybe that'll do it.
You can hold the iPad button.
Yeah, but I want it to work. Hey, Siri, tell Mikah I'm on... Oh, screw you. Tell Mikah I'm on my way.
You said I'm leaving.
Yeah, it should be I'm leaving.
So that is one of the problems, too. It's not smart enough. It does need to get, like, sloppy, close answers, too, and not just the exact... Because you said I'm... I think if you say I am leaving, it might not get
Tell Mikah I'm leaving. Now, with any luck, I shouldn't have to do anything, right?
Correct.
And it might take a moment because location does take a second. It's worse on the iPad specifically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the phone should be faster.
All right,
yeah.
it says that's done.
Now, so we're going to wait and see if Mikah gets a message from Leo, from Leo's iPad, although it will use my Apple number. And then there you go. It says, "Yo, Mikah, I'm on the way. I'm currently at..." And I'm
currently not in a ditch.
51 seconds. That's super cool, Matthew. I love that.
My screw you.
When did you send that?
He was probably...
from earlier.
Tap on the link.
This is good to know. You can add extra stuff.
And look what it says, sent with Siri, so I know that you were using the action to do it.
Screw you, Siri.
This is great, though, because then I could tap this map.
And you're going to see a map of where Leo is, which is right here, obviously. This moment. Oh, this is great. You did it.
Woo!
Yeah. So all I have to do now, can I do that with my HomePod, even though the HomePod has no clue where it is?
Yes. The HomePod just runs shortcuts from your phone. So that's all great. And I mean, even now... Something that I didn't mention is like there's a lot of scripting actions in shortcuts, like where you can, it's called ask for input, where you can actually interact with Siri and she'll read stuff back to you. And you can say like dictate something and she'll use that in the shortcut. So this is all a lot more improved from last year where a lot of Siri shortcuts kind of just did one thing on their own and couldn't interact with anything else. Now basically HomePod and AirPods, all of that. On the watch, it's slightly broken right now, but you can just run all your shortcuts and interact with Siri.
Oh, so I can even talk to my watch. The other thing that is nice, because I turned on synchronization, it's on my phone already. And so that means it would also be on my watch. if I
no, there's no app there. It's just a trigger area.
I get it.
Yeah,
So
they
the
had
watch talks to
workflow
the
for
phone.
Watch before, but
Yeah.
so I hope they bring that back because that would be awesome.
Wouldn't it be great? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that would be the most natural because honestly, I usually would send this as I'm getting in the car. I guess I'd have my phone with me, but it'd really be nice if I could say it to the watch.
I was going to say we have the other option there is the new automations feature. So you could have, if you did have CarPlay, that would probably be the easiest in general because it's just like once you connect, it could just automatically tell Mikah. I mean, you might, I guess every time you connect to the car,
every time
like,
I go somewhere, Micah's going to get a notification that I'm on my way.
No thanks.
So there isn't a way to say, to narrow that automation down.
It could be when you plug it into your car, it'll ask you if you want to run the shortcut.
Do you want to tell Mikah you're on your way? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then the automations feature also has support for NFC tags, which is really cool. So you can get a little sticker that has little wires on the back that your phone can read the signal from.
Just tap it on that.
Yeah, it's like the top left corner of your phone. So it's very, they're called near field communication for specifically.
This is something that, you know, we had in Android like literally 5 years ago. We used to have tags all over the old studio that people could tap to get more information. But now Apple finally has turned NFC on in the phones for everything, things besides Apple Pay. So I could buy, it's funny, I guess this whole market, which basically died out, is now going to come back. I can buy these tags, put one on my dashboard. You've experienced this. There are a lot of Bluetooth devices that you tap to pair. That's basically what's going on. It has a little NFC chip in it. When you tap it, it sends a little signal to the phone. This is a Bluetooth device. Let's pair. You could do the same thing. I could have a little Mikah sticker. I would like to buy one with your head on it.
Oh,
and then when
that'd be fun. Then it's like
branded
branded
NFC tags is a very good idea. Like every podcast should have their own NFC tag stickers because then it's just like I just want to listen to the episode.
We're getting them.
Yeah.
I am going to do that,
cool.
and I'll let you know, folks, and you'll be able to send a self-addressed stamped envelope. We'll send you
iOS
today, NFC stickers you can put on your dashboard. You get in the car, you tap it, it starts playing.
iOS today. And
this is what they look like. They're just all like they're like $40 for $15 on Amazon, which is just in terms of smart stuff. Like, I mean, we do a smart tech show, but stuff is pretty expensive. And when you can get like 40 Internet of Things devices that also I stick them on the underside of tables because then you can just kind of keep. I mean, like I don't want white dots all over my house just to do this, but now I think I have 40, and I don't even remember where some of them are at this point, but
the nice thing about them and the reason they're relatively expensive is because they're programmable. Yeah. You can say to that, now here's what the action is when I tap you. And so they have to have a little bit of memory and a little bit of circuitry.
Shortcuts itself actually doesn't write to the NFC tag, which is good because it's way less complicated. It just reads the signal that the tag is there, and then Shortcuts is what associates that with a Siri shortcut. So like
but there are programmable NFC tags because we used to do that.
Yeah, that's how they normally work.
Yeah, okay.
But the way Shortcuts works is one person can use a tag for something else, and the other person can scan that same tag and have it run a shortcut on their phone that does something different. So
now, I just had a thought.
So if we send out iOS Today NFC tags, then they're not automatically going to run.
We would buy the programmable ones because we'd have to program them. Yeah.
But so let me have shortcuts for all like playing your podcast and all that.
You can make your own,
exactly.
But you have to tell your phone what to do when it sees that number, that code ID.
Yeah, there's a little bit of setup that I think Apple needs to improve because you can't actually like share an automation. You can share a shortcut, and then your automation can use run shortcut to send it off. But it's like it does get a little bit complicated.
I'm telling you, though, and I know a lot of people watched this and had the same reaction I did when I first saw Workflow. Well, I'm never going to do that. But it's worth getting a little bit comfortable with it because, honestly, you might. The good news is, and you can see, I don't write my own shortcuts very often, but I have a lot of them because I downloaded other people's shortcuts. And here's another thing. I've made a shortcut that says, tell Mike I'm leaving, but I just had a thought. You know, Lisa, I should have one that tells my wife when I'm on my way home. So how can I duplicate this and customize it so that it's tell Lisa I'm on my way home?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, I think it might be in there. You might have to do it from the main menu first, back out in my shortcuts.
Go back to my shortcuts here.
Yeah. and then tap and hold, and then there's
there you
context.
go. Duplicate. Yeah. It's in the long press, or what we used to call 3D
yeah, it's
press.
all changed now.
Duplicate. So I've made 2 of them, but now I'm going to modify this one a little bit. This is going to be tell Lisa Now, I'm not going to say on my way home. I'm going to say I'm on my... Oh, I do need to say where I'm going because that's built in, right? So
you could, I think, just on my way, and then you'll specify.
I can specify here.
Yeah.
So once I do that, I'm going to customize this part, which is Twit Eastside Studio, and I'm going to say that should be home.
I want to take it off camera first.
I don't care if they know where my where Hotel Petaluma is. It's okay. Somewhere I will have had home in here. Yeah, don't show my home. Maybe I haven't programmed home. I guess I haven't. So
I did this like 4 times on my live stream. Gave away my personal information.
Yeah. Oh, welcome to the club, my friend.
Yeah, seriously.
I've had to cancel credit cards in the middle of shows. so I will change it. I will get the travel time will be changed. Now, this is an interesting thing. You say to Redwood Way. That's because I changed it. I typed. So that's going to be whatever that's going to be to home. I'll change, obviously, the text.
Yo, Mikah, this is Lisa.
Yeah. And I'll say I'll be at home, not Twit, but I'll be at home. I'll be home and it'll say how many minutes. What are you, actually, this is something everybody could use, right? I mean, you often have to text a significant other that you're on your way home or I just left. And this will be great. I'm really thrilled to have this. That's great.
You know what? Now that I think about it, there is an automation. It's not fully automatic, and I'll explain. There's a little bit of weirdness with automations there, but there is one that's called Before I Commute. And like Siri uses the smart Siri stuff that she already does to basically, if you always leave at 8:30, she can notify you at 8:15-ish to run a shortcut. And so that's actually pretty cool. This could pop up on your phone like 20 minutes before you leave every day, and then you're just tap it and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I noticed actually it has been a while since this was working with my phone, and I don't know if I had just turned off notifications or something, but today for the first time in a while, as I was getting ready to walk into the studio to do iOS Today, I got the Siri shortcut Siri recommendation or whatever it's called.
Siri suggestions, I think is how they
Siri
call those.
suggestion to turn on Do Not Disturb for the length of my calendar entry for the show iOS Today. And that it hadn't done that in a while, but it's doing it.
I think
once again.
I think they fixed that on iOS 13 because I'm seeing a lot more of those now. But that's just Siri suggestions that happens regardless of you setting it up. The Before I Commute automation is one that you'd have to like specifically set up. I mean, generally, like if this one of like I'm on the way home, you could have it be 30 minutes before or like 10 minutes before I leave. I can send this type of thing.
I love this. And in fact, as somebody who's perennially late, I'm going to add a whole list of shortcuts. Telling people I'm on my way. I'm going to have one for my trainer. I'm running late. I'm going to have one. That's going to be great.
Yeah, everybody will know.
Going along the whole programming thing is you could have one shortcut that says, who do you want to send the message to? And then it could change it based off of that too.
Yeah, because you could use if-then statements to sort of like send yo Mikah or send depending on who you say.
Should we talk? Let's not get into if-then statements.
Yeah, it'll get a little more complicated. But
let us talk now about, I'd love everybody here to show us some of your favorite shortcuts.
Yes.
You have one that I call, it's the Popo.
Yes. I call it I'm getting pulled over.
Which is a little nicer.
Yeah.
This is an amazing shortcut somebody wrote and posted. I think I first saw it on Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit has a wonderful shortcut subreddit where there are lots of shortcuts. But again, always read and test the shortcut before you use it.
Mm-hmm. So this one starts by pausing your music.
Important. You say this if you're getting pulled over, for a traffic violation, you say, "Hey, Shlomo, I'm getting pulled over," and this is what happens. It stops the music, which it should.
I believe this is to set the volume to 0.
Yes.
Those actually aren't necessary anymore. The set variable thing came from workflow days before
this is
shortcuts,
a pretty old
and
shortcut. So
you might be able to rebuild this and have it be a lot clearer in just like 4 steps.
Matthew might be able to rebuild this and have it be a lot
I'm sure I could do it in like 10
steps.
seconds. Yeah.
It does some other cool things. Now, it's using scripting. Is that still around or is that a workflow idea?
No, the scripting stuff is still in there. But
so
I
in this
think
case, it says get the current brightness and then set. This is again too many steps. You could just set the current brightness.
It's just trying
zero.
to store the volume for later, but really you don't need to do that.
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
that's right.
So basically, the point of this is to pause the music and then turn down the screen.
So that the popo can't see what you're doing.
That what you're doing
because
is recording the screen.
You're recording the transaction.
Sorry, recording the camera. Yeah. So then you have the transaction. It uploads to iCloud Drive. It also grabs my current location and sends that to people. And so when I tap play,
this is going to send it to your mom. It's going to say, "I'm getting pulled over."
And don't worry, I warned her.
And it will send your map. It'll say, and it'll also record a video, which it's doing right now.
Right now, the video is being recorded.
I'm not the popo.
He's not the popo.
We're just doing a test.
As far as we know, no.
I look like the popo.
He might be the popo. Who knows?
You know, Sargent.
The commissioner.
Oh God,
you've been driving strangely.
That's because I was at my boss's house. And he had this sipping rum.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? Oh, whoops.
Went out of character there for a moment.
Sorry, you broke character.
Don't
drink and drive. That's
this
not
is
funny.
the idea of this, and it's really, I think, a little bit facetious, a little bit political, but it's also saying, hey, if you're afraid of getting pulled over, and in days gone by, that might have been a scary thought, especially if you're African American. You could run this, record the transaction, and send it off to a loved one before anybody even knew it was happening. This, by the way, is perfectly legal.
Yes.
You are allowed to do that, and I think it's a reasonable safety precaution. And there it is. There's the video. It's being sent to your mom right now.
Yep. So she has
good.
it. It's also in my iCloud Drive saved for later.
So Robert Peterson created that some time ago, and I think that's really a very elaborate. The reason I often show this is it's such an what did she say?
My mom texted back to say, "I see where you are. Let's go to Anna's Seafood for dinner."
Is she in town?
No, she's being funny.
Anna's Seafood. It's got cracked crab.
Anna's Seafood is a restaurant nearby that has
good seafood,
very fresh seafood.
Actually, is it a restaurant or just
sorry,
a
not
store?
a restaurant. It's a store. Yes,
yeah,
which she doesn't
across
know.
the street. It's across the street. She probably looked at your map and said, "Hey, I see Anna's Seafood. Let's go there."
Yeah, she's hilarious.
But it's got the best fresh fish. Highly recommend.
Don't worry, I warned her
look
before
like
I did that, so she knew that it wasn't actually the police.
Let's go to Anna's Seafood.
It did look like that shortcut also. I think what it was doing with the volume and brightness was it was storing the current
So it can
value,
restore it.
turning it down, and then once it's done, it turns it back up. That's clever.
That's actually very nice. And it's a good, again, great way to learn is to see what other people are doing with their shortcuts. And because shortcuts are never obfuscated, you can always see what every step is. You really can learn some great techniques. Like, yeah, it'd be nice. You're turning the volume down and you're turning the screen brightness down. Wouldn't it be nice when the shortcut's done to restore everything to the way it was? And that's what it was doing, was saving that and restoring. Yeah. Now, Mom's reassured. Micah has reassured his mom.
And I've told her that we can't have food at the place, but we can get some food there and then make it.
I'll show you one of my favorites. This is because I'm not on Instagram, but I often want to pretend that I had a lot of likes, a lot of shares. Where did I put it? I wonder.
Oh, there it is. Fake Instagram card.
Fake Instagram card.
Now, what is this?
Okay, so this is Tom Balfour. Again, another great Reddit shortcut. Notice, by the way, programmers, if you are sharing or even, if anybody's going to read your code, including you in the future,
future you,
it's always good. All programs should have comments that explain what you're doing. And so there is a way to do that even on shortcuts. So it's going to ask for my Instagram username. That's not my real username. I can make up any Instagram username. It's going to ask for input. That's how it gets it, right? It's going to choose.
Wait, why is there a card called nothing? What is that?
This looks like it was also built using
the
old style,
but it works. Let me just run it here.
If you double tap, it should run it.
Oh, double tap it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I think it's a single. I think it's broken actually. It's supposed to work. It just opens it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, my Instagram username is, let's make it Chief
Twee, Master Chief Twee.
Okay, Master Chief Twee. Okay, now it's going to pick a photo. Let's pick this. Let's pick this video of my mom.
Oh, you could do video.
Well, actually, I like this video of you. So I'm going to use that. Okay, it's going to convert it to JPEG. Oh, I think maybe it wants another one.
It might have an issue using a video. I would pick just a
Okay, just a photo. There you go. Okay, now this is the best part. How many likes would I get? Maybe 100. Let's do 1,232,792.
Agreed.
Okay, lots of likes. And then the description, my baby does the hanky.
Baby does the hanky-panky.
Now, when was it posted?
It auto-corrected it.
Did it? Nice.
So
I don't know.
what,
I don't even want to
hanky
know what it says.
I hope it says hanky
Pinky
pancake.
pinky. You could say, oh, this was posted 3 days ago. Okay. Yep. This is a really complicated one. Isn't this amazing?
Intense.
Okay. Now, I'm going to this is what it's going to do with what I just did. I can preview it, copy to clipboard, save without sharing, or share without saving.
That's
a confusing menu.
Yeah, but once you use it, you'll get it. We'll do a preview so we can see. So it has made an Instagram post from a fake user with a fake profile, which was you, by the way. That's what that first picture was, is Mikah's picture.
It chooses the URL. Okay, the avatar.
Yeah.
Okay.
See? And then I have 1.2 million likes.
I am the chief twit now.
I'm the chief twit now. And then so I could share this like I had the biggest Instagram post of all time.
Oh, wow.
And it does it in the exact Instagram style. Isn't that clever?
That is pretty clever.
He must have coded HTML on a web page to look like that.
Yeah.
That's
great.
You can do all sorts of stuff.
I'll give you an
Shortcuts.
example.
It's
Federico has done Federico has done it so that you could take your screenshots and frame it with whatever device it was.
Yeah,
so he has images of the iPad, the iPhone. And somebody not working on iMore, for instance, would love this because you can make all your screenshots look like they're on the iPhone.
I like it's not working right now because I think Instagram did some new integrations with Facebook, so their CDN has changed, but I assume that I could update it, and it's this InstaSave action. Sometimes there are photos that Twit will post on Twit.tv, follow them on Instagram, and maybe I want one of those photos for my own purposes, or there's a photo that my mom posts that I want to be able to share. And InstaSave, you can be on Instagram, you tap the share sheet, you run InstaSave, and it will go in and find the CDN URL of that image and then be able to save it to your photos. It also works for Instagram stories and other things as well.
Yeah.
So I really like
people like that for YouTube especially. But
yes.
I think the problem is that I think they know that you're stealing from them. Basically, it's not allowed technically.
Right.
So I do think that's YouTube likes to change how it works so that these break basically because people can I think that's Shortcuts itself is a programming language, and that's what's not really been the case on iPhones before. And so you can there's a get contents of URL action that lets you can make whole web requests to APIs and log data to the web using Shortcuts. I've used my AirPods to add information into my Airtable base in a way that's not at all supported, but I just completely programmed it. So,
speaking of programming, there's an app that works with Siri Shortcuts that's pretty neat called Scriptable. And Scriptable lets you do JavaScript coding. So they give you some examples here of different things that you can do with Scriptable. And basically, you can create these JavaScript blocks and then tie them to Siri Shortcuts because it works with Siri Shortcuts. And so then it's an easy way. If you know JavaScript coding and you are more comfortable with that, it's a handy way. You can see, though, I have not created any of my own. These are all ones that they've come up with because I'm not that proficient in coding. But people do some magic with this stuff. And certainly I like the idea that when Shortcuts is integrated into all these different things, you get so many more options that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I just love this. I have my real problem is I forget that I've made these and I don't use them, and it's kind of you need to get a habit. So I would suggest making one or two that you think you're going to use a lot. The old rule of thumb is if you do it more than a few times, you really should make a shortcut out of it. Yeah. For instance, one of the things I do before every show is I want to look at the show rundown, and I have a shortcut that says, "Show me the Twit rundown."
Ooh.
I didn't catch that.
Show me the Twit rundown. And so it's opening web page from handoff, it says. Actually, that's not what it should be doing.
Yeah, maybe you tried to do that
borked.
earlier and it's creating an issue.
It might be borked because I have it here. Show me the Twit rundown. And if I press play in Shortcuts, it actually opens it where I want it to.
Yeah.
So, I see what the problem is. I'm logged into a different account. Okay.
Okay.
So that it was
You
having
could
a
do
little bit
one
of trouble.
to the Google Sheets app now, I think, too.
Actually, that would be better, wouldn't it? Then I wouldn't have to log in. And so what I really should do is duplicate that, say, show me the iOS Today rundown, show me the MacBreak Weekly rundown. And that would be a really great way to
choose. There's an action called Choose from Menu that lets you have the names of those, and then you pick which one, and it opens up to that specific
That's why you're the menu master.
Another idea, I assume you could tie it to a calendar, right? So I could say, show me the Twit rundown, and depending on the time,
Show me the
and
rundown
date,
for today.
Show me the rundown for today's, then it would give you the right one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
Calendar
those
events
eyebrows. Look at
are-
him. He's so excited.
The giant
do
eyebrows
that.
I have.
Show me this today's rundown.
Yeah.
Show me today's rundown. Would all I needed to do, and it would look at so it can go out. It can look at my calendar. It can see what's going on right now.
Just the next event or current event kind of thing.
How would it figure out which rundown? It would have to do some.
You would have to code that. Like,
Yeah,
at
see,
this
I
time,
know
then
as a
I want to
programmer,
blank.
this is where I often, this is what stopped me in the old days of AppleScript and of Automator and now on Shortcuts is I could code that in Python because I would use a regular expression parser and I would figure out, looking at the calendar, what the show name is,
I
et
could
cetera,
code
et
that in
cetera.
Rattlesnake, but
Shortcuts can do that type of stuff.
Can
it
it?
can do regular expressions also. Yeah, it's called the match text action. So
all right,
it's like a trick programming language. Like I didn't even know until I worked at Workflow that using like the repeat with each action to iterate through each of your calendar events is a for loop in program. Like I'm accidentally a programmer just from using this app. And like,
in a way, you're better off if you never programmed and used Shortcuts. And it was true of AppleScript as well. You'll understand it. It's kind of designed for non-programmers. It'll all make sense. But if you're looking for loops and you don't know what to look for, you'll say, "Oh, it doesn't have for loops," except it does. But you just don't name it.
It does have friendlier names too.
Yeah.
Like repeat with each of the things makes more sense to me than for loop. Like I think it does kind of break down some of what was previously just like esoteric programming terms, and then
except
make
that
them into
every
just simple
programmer
things.
knows what for
they're
means.
like, what's going on?
And they're going, I don't understand. So
I mean that's
not
the
a
whole
bad
thing
thing.
I'm trying to do.
Is
like bridge the gap between what developers do and this stuff, because it's all. Usually it's just like I use the word API and your eyes just roll in the back of your head because you're like, I don't know what that is, but it's just like how you interact with the web and stuff like that.
So I'm going to venture a statement. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. It sounds like most of the constructs programmers expect in a traditional programming language are available. Things like regular expressions and for loops.
I think like 90% of it.
So you have to know what to look for.
Like I think a switch statement is
I was going to ask you.
Multiple if
does it have
actions?
It's like a case or switch or a match
it
statement doesn't have that. That's very nice. I think they should get that now.
Yeah, I'm sure they're working on some of that stuff. It is like this is a ton of programming or engineering work is just working at Workflow.
Impressive.
I could tell how there's 300 native actions in Shortcuts. Now every app on the App Store can make any of their functions into a Siri shortcut that has those little parameters that you can adjust to and stuff. So like every app in the App Store should work with Siri. Siri also works on your HomePod, AirPods, Apple Watch, CarPlay. So they kind of are like sliding this in and not really talking about it. And then it seems like it's hitting the entire ecosystem all at once.
Wow.
And it's really like pays off if you did invest in getting all their stuff.
What happened? Siri, run my shortcut. It's almost time for a sponsor.
Yeah, we got to take a break. I would go on and I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Matthew Cassinelli, thank you so much. You can catch Matthew every Monday from now on Smart Tech Today. We're streaming it. In fact, we even have a special Twitch room for it and a Twitch chat for it. You could find out more on our website at twit.tv/STT. You'll find out more about Matthew there. And Matthew and Mikah are both in our new Twit community at twit.community, and you can converse with them there. And I have a feeling we're going to be setting up a little Shortcuts topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to do some more with this. This is really, really fun. Thank you, Matthew.
I was going to say too, I did make a whole collection of like 150 shortcuts on my website that some people are like, that's too many. I need less. I need just a couple that I want to use, but it's like you can go browse through a bunch of different categories there and download them.
And your
I used
website
to
is?
make the gallery for shortcuts, and now it's like my own gallery. But MatthewCassinelli.com. And I think it's /Siri-shortcuts.
We'll include it in the show notes. I've got it.
Yeah. It's also on the screen if you're watching the video. So thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Really
Thanks
a
so
pleasure.
much.
I hope that you use this and let Mikah know.
I hope
you're
so
be
too, that he's not in a ditch.
From now on.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to rename it. I'm not in a ditch.
There you go.
Tell Mike I'm not in a ditch. That's the new name.
Oh, that's great. You won't forget it.
Nice job, Matthew. Thank you.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, news, questions, and our app caps. Actually, this is perfect timing.
Yeah, automations.
We're talking about shortcuts. You know, you can do shortcuts not just on iOS. You can do it throughout your life with Zapier. I use Zapier like crazy, and it integrates
love
beautifully with
Zapier.
shortcuts. So you can basically what Zapier is this the same idea, but for websites, for apps that you use, no matter where you're doing it. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a number of Zaps. I've been a Zapier subscriber for years. One of my Zaps, whenever I am in my newsreader and I favorite an article, automatically tweets it to my Links to Twit account, automatically saves it to Pinboard, so I have a record of all my of the stories, because that's what I'm doing, is looking for stories for our shows, and adds it to a Google spreadsheet, to the top line, all the vital information that Karsten can use then to build the rundowns for all of our shows. I don't have to do anything. I just press the star button on my newsreader. Same thing if I decide in Pinboard, if I decide to bookmark a stuff, I'm in the browser, I say Pinboard this, it'll do the same process. These Zaps are so useful to me. When we started the Twit community, I created a news app that every time there's a new show, it automatically posts it on our forum. So easy.
I've made one too on Tech News Weekly. We use a prompter, and there is a handy action now where it used to take like 7 steps. I can copy the code, put it into, or the words, put it into a document, and that automatically pops it into the right Dropbox folder.
So great.
Connection between Google Docs and Dropbox easily and super fast.
Anytime you do something more than once, you should do it in Zapier. Zapier automates your workflow. They connect to over 1,500 apps. And, you know, if you're in sales, yes, it works with Salesforce. It works with Google Calendar. It works with everything, Twitter, Facebook, everything. So if you're in sales, you can use it to automatically engage leads, to automatically import new customers, to notify your team about opportunities. No work on your part. In fact, I'll tell you how effective this is. 4.5 million people now use Zapier. That's a lot, 4.5 million people. And on average, they save, and Zapier knows this because they know how the workflows are being used, 40 hours a month. That's like getting a free work week. I don't know why anybody isn't using Zapier. You ought to be using it. They are the only one that supports multi-step Zaps. I described it. That's really important. That's really important. That way you can get a whole workflow done in one Zap. I love it. Make more time to grow your business, to do the things you love. Right now through November, you can try Zapier free. Zapier.com/iOS. Zapier.com/iOS. A free 14-day trial. Beware, you will be hooked. Zapier, I love it. But like I said, I've been a user for years.
Same.
It's saved me so much time.
And it's one of those things, I don't know, it's just kind of fun.
I know, I
just
love
going
it.
in and like, I have this problem. Can I fix it?
Don't tell Matthew this. It's much easier than using shortcuts.
Oh, yeah, it actually is.
I didn't even think of this. I probably could have made a Zap.
There's a lot more documentation.
Zapier.com/iOS. Try it free right now.
Love you, Matthew.
Actually, but you can combine the two, and then it really is amazing. Look at
Then you
that
become
branching
all-powerful.
logic. They have branching logic.
Yeah, they're paths now.
That's interesting.
I didn't know. I don't even know what this is yet, but I'm going to start reading
Well, it's like
about
if
it.
then, if this, then that kind of thing. You know, so you add a trigger, and if this happens, do that kind of thing. That's really exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe I might have
So
actually
you could say
done
it's a
this.
condition. So if Leo is in a ditch, send this text message. If Leo's not in this, said, that
And
kind
notify
of thing.
his next of
Notify his
kin,
next of kin, exactly.
and send out his electronic will.
Logic.
Yeah, it's all there.
They always say everybody should be a coder. I don't know if I believe that, but I have to say, if you use computers, and an iPad is a computer, an iPhone's a computer, it really is handy to know how to do this stuff. It could save you A lot of time. All right, let's get to our news.
It's news time, news time. We talked a little bit about news at that was my news time dance.
Catalina's here. Catalina's here.
We talked about that a little bit at the top of the show. It had been a while, and it's now out like we thought it was going to be. Folks have been getting it. Some folks have not upgraded.
Really?
Yeah. The problem is it is a whole change to the system, and
It's
that
a big
like
deal.
syncing.
Well, you have to have a 2012 or later Macintosh. That's the first thing.
Yes.
It's kind of like iOS. By the way, we should do a new feature on the news. What's the current iOS version today?
Yeah, where are we right now?
They settled down a little bit. We're still at 13.1.2. I thought by now we'd have 1.3. I don't know. I just feel like
I think they stopped signing 13.1.1, so you definitely have to go
have
to 2.
to do it. Wow. Wow. But so far, no updates in that regard. What else? There seems like there's a lot of iOS news.
So one thing that I do want to talk about, Apple has, we talked about sleep tracking on the Apple Watch.
Yes.
Well, there apparently
there's a little leak.
There's a little leak.
There's a little leak.
It's a little boo-boo because Apple itself, in some of its screenshots, some of its imagery, has actually referenced a sleep app.
Wait a minute. Set your bedtime and wake up in the sleep app. That's actually in your watch right now if you look. That's crazy if you have the updated WatchOS 6. That's so funny.
Yeah. So apparently they've been working on, and I guess just weren't ready to announce.
So maybe
sleep app.
I'm still waiting to see if they're going to do an event this month. I feel like
I feel like it's a little late now, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like they've deferred. I have a personal reason for this. I'm leaving the country October 21st. And I would like something to take with me to play with. Not a Mac
lots
Pro.
Of other events.
I'm not going to buy a Mac Pro. I
Take
wouldn't
some
mind a
Amazon
16-inch
products with you.
MacBook though. MacBook Pro 16-inch. Would love that. Apple, just if you're listening. But golly, it's the 8th already.
Mm-hmm. I was pretty sure.
I thought by now they usually give us 2 weeks notice.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to do an event in October, they've only got another week to let us know. I might not be here when it happens. That would be depressing.
No, you'll be on vacation. Have your vacation. Have fun.
I hate being on vacation when Apple has an event. We actually moved. So last year we were on vacation during the iPhone event. So I moved the vacation to October to avoid this thing. And I thought by October 21st, everything Apple's going to do will have been done. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe they won't do an event.
I'm thinking now. Yeah. No.
They've got stuff to announce. Maybe they'll do a press release. Mac Pro, for sure. They got to get it out by the end of the year. Rumored 16-inch MacBook. We've even seen entries in the EMEA database for new iPads, iPad Pros.
Yeah. I mean, I love mine, but
yeah, I don't have to get a new one. This is the greatest. Now that iPadOS is out, now that I can do shortcuts, I mean, this is a power tool. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited about this.
I agree. I love iPadOS and what it's brought. By the way, remember we talked before about Spotify working on having Siri support.
Can it? Yeah.
Now officially it can.
Oh,
in fact,
so this was
morning,
an updated Spotify app.
Yes, the Spotify app has been updated.
Nice.
So now you say,
"Hey Shlomo,
play Beyonce on Spotify."
Let's watch. This is so exciting. Are you in the Bayhive?
Why didn't that work? Play Beyonce on Spotify. It's not listening to the first parts of my words.
Yeah, it did the same thing to me, remember?
Play Beyonce on Spotify.
It even put the little accent aigu.
Ta-da!
Yay! Destiny's Child jumping. It even knows that Beyonce used to be in a group called Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
Pretty dang awesome.
So, yeah, you just say on Spotify, and then it will play from Spotify. Now, this is not just a Spotify thing. There are multiple, it's a media intent is what it's called, and it's a new thing that came with iOS 13. And so any apps that are media serving apps can add this functionality. And in fact, let me see, don't show my screen yet. Give me a second here to pop it up. Here we go. So this is a screenshot from my iPhone. And you can see that I said, hey, I want to play this playlist on Spotify. And at first, it actually asked me, can I use your Spotify data? So I had to tap yes or no or say yes or no. I said yes. And then for some reason, the integration did not work with my specific playlist. So I don't know what that is, if it's a Spotify bug or if the media intent isn't powerful enough to find like my specific playlists. Don't know yet. That's some testing I have to do. But when I then went and said, play blank artist on Spotify, it did it. So I find this fascinating. It looks like all of the different apps Siri will have to get explicit permission to be able to use those media options, which I think is fascinating.
You know, and I know that this iPhone 11 is the best iPhone Apple's ever made. Yes. In fact, I'd venture to say the best phone you can buy. Well, now we know it's true. Consumer Reports agrees. And by the way, that isn't always the case.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, Consumer Reports isn't always iPhone Bro or whatever they say.
Yeah, I mean, they have in the past named Samsung phones and I think Google's phones. But after extensive testing, and Consumer Reports really does, and by the way, they, like us, they buy their phones. They don't get them from Apple.
Right. The truth is in our testing.
Yes. Actually, I'm a member, so I can see what that rating is. You have to be a member to see that. But anybody can read the article. They said battery life is much better. I can't believe this part. They have a battery test that they do that I really trust. It's a real-world battery test. They got, on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, they got 40 hours.
Wow. This thing is a powerhouse.
40 hours. They say that's the longest stretch of any phone currently in their listings. And they said this is a big turnaround for Apple. They didn't used to have best battery life. They've always had the best cameras, and they really like the cameras. And I have to say, I don't know if you have been watching, but on Reddit and other places, people are starting to post their pictures with Deep Fusion. That's the other big story that happened this week, is that if you're on the public beta for iOS 13, you will have 13.2 that has Deep Fusion built in. This is the software Apple promised but has yet to deliver to its iPhone that makes it an even better camera. And for a while we were limited to what Apple has distributed as samples, but if you go on Reddit and you start looking at some of these pictures, we showed some of them on Sunday on Twit. Wow. I mean, big improvement. So I think the iPhone 11 camera probably, well, certainly now the best camera out there. We'll have to see what Google does next week with the Pixel. But right now the best camera out there, and I think with Deep Fusion, it's going to actually, the best is actually going to get better.
Yeah, did you show Tyler Stallman's tweet?
No, show that, because he did some nice comparisons between the 10R and the 11.
With Smart HDR and the 11.
We should point out, these are not the Pro. This is not the Pro. Presumably the Pro might even do better.
We'll see. So this is just a zoomed out shot, but watch as we get closer. So already you can see that this one here has a lot more detail with his face.
You can't see the gray hairs in his beard.
Right. On the left side, it's like blurred.
Yeah.
The ears are more in focus. Everything.
It's using artificial intelligence. It's capturing. There's a very good example.
Wow.
It's capturing more photos. It captures, I think, 3 underexposed photos, 1 overexposed photo, a couple of normally exposed photos, merges them together, applies its artificial intelligence chip to look at different regions of the photo. It knows the difference between sky, flesh, sweaters, brick walls, and optimizes each independently.
The detail of the eye here
is doing incredible. Regional correction on your photo. It does this all in 1 second. I cannot wait. And by the way, there's no way to turn it off. You'll either have Deep Fusion. Micah's now. Do you have Deep Fusion?
Yeah.
Oh, you have. You're still on the beta?
Of course I am.
Oh man.
Let's see this brick wall. I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to.
Do you notice the difference in time? Does it seem like it takes a little while?
When you go into Photos and you tap on a photo, it'll take a second to sort of shift into showing the whole thing of Deep Fusion. That's the place where it shows up.
So there is a janky way to kind of disable it. It has to do with the wide-angle lens, and if you turn off, it has that mode where, I cut off the side of his head, and you can widen the picture a little bit, so it's always taken with the wide angle. If you turn that feature off, it apparently turns off Deep Fusion as well.
Interesting.
So, or is it the other way around? Anyway, you can kind of turn it off. I wouldn't. I don't see any reason not to use it.
Because it's not. It is not a feature like face smoothing or portrait mode or anything like that. This is a feature that just genuinely gives you more detail in your photos. It provides a more clear photo than you would get without it. I was in Coit. Is that what it's called? Coit Tower?
Oh, isn't Coit Tower amazing? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I had to take a photo. There's a mural. Well, there are lots of murals. And so I took a photo here with Deep Fusion, obviously, because I was using my phone, and zooming in to see the details of the paint strokes with the new camera features, I think is pretty incredible. Also, they drew this man with quite the peach, which I find interesting, but he's very poised, and then anyway,
it's a perfect peach.
Yeah, the perfect
Only
peach. While he's picking oranges, he's got the perfect peach. But like the detail of the brush strokes of these photos,
these
is
are
really
the most
incredible.
beautiful murals. These are Diego. I think Diego Rivera murals are so gorgeous.
Guess what?
What?
Something magical happened while I was there. It's been 5 years since anyone has been able to see the murals that are in the stairwell.
They've been restoring them
up the way because people have harmed them.
Yeah, they brush their hand along as they're going up the stairs.
There was a new gal who was working the elevator, and that elevator, their new like safety mechanisms and things, but the elevator itself is like 90 years old or something, and you have to do a certain thing so that it doesn't get broken and then people can't go up. It got broken and people couldn't go up, and so they let us. Even though it's not open yet,
they tied your hands to your sides.
They let us go up the stairs, so we got to see the murals on the way up the stairs.
Beautiful.
It took forever, though. I mean, you climb to get to the tower in the first place, up these streets and everything, and then we're going, but it was worth it.
If you go to San Francisco, you got to go to Coit Tower.
Yeah,
it's up
it's
in North
beautiful.
Beach. It is Lily Coit's tribute to the San Francisco Fire Department after the 1906 earthquake, and of course the city burned to the ground, but she wanted to thank them for their service and built this beautiful phallic tower.
Well, they say it looks like the top of a fire hose. Oh. But that's just a coincidence, is what has since been said.
Cut that part out. So the
top of a fire hose. That's what they say.
That's what they say about me too.
No,
so
okay.
Now you really have to cut it out.
It's got to go. So he ruined it. For sure. That's how he gets it out of there.
The Apple iPhone, I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm going to tell you, got a 95 from Consumer Reports. So really,
oh, you're not supposed to tell us.
I'm not supposed to tell you. You subscribers only. The good news is, you think this is the best phone you've ever used. You're right.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, you paid a lot of money for that phone. Enjoy it.
I came on iOS today as a guest, and during that time, we talked about HomeKit's new features and functionality, and one of those things was HomeKit Secure Video.
Yeah, this is something for Smart Tech today, but okay, stick it in here too.
I am doing a throwback to when I was on iOS today as a guest, so I'm doing
our
it back.
IoT guru.
This is interesting. It's not out yet, but this is Apple's way of giving people the ability to save the video that their HomeKit cameras are taking without having to pay a huge subscription fee.
I like that.
Right now, there are lots of different webcams out there that you pay a monthly subscription.
Yeah, I
and
have
you
a
get
Nest, I have a Ring, all of them you have to pay for.
Pay to have full access. So HomeKit Secure Video does all of the processing, the AI stuff locally on your Home Hub devices, and lets you save using iCloud storage.
Oh, that's nice.
The video. Well, it's not out yet, but we have now seen not only a screenshot, but someone has posted a video showing what it looks like using this new feature. And so basically,
now you have to have a device that works with HomeKit.
Correct.
Do the Ring doorbells work with HomeKit?
I can't remember if Ring is HomeKit enabled.
I mean, this is the problem. None of these talk to the other. So the Nest, I have a Hello doorbell now. I replaced the Ring with the Hello because I wanted to work with my Google Home Hub Max.
And if you see here,
That's
the processing that's happening locally. Let me try to pop that back up again there at the bottom. See, it shows, there was a person at your door between this time. There was an animal at your door.
You can set it so that it's motion activated.
It's motion activated and determines who it is, but it's not having to send it off to a web server somewhere to be analyzed. It's happening locally.
That's the thing that makes me a little nervous about the Nest doorbell. The Hello doorbell is it does face recognition. Now, I like that myself because it says, oh, Michael just came home, or there's somebody I don't know at your door.
Right.
I love that. But they do warn you when you sign up for it, you should check laws. Oh, it found the dog. We've been looking.
Oh, no, where did it go?
Where did it go?
The dog is gone.
I've been looking for it. But it does say when you sign up, you check the laws in your local area to see if you should be doing this. Because basically it's sending images of the people who walk up my steps back to the home office for analysis.
So it happens locally.
That's better, I think.
Yeah, which I like. And then, again, you're not having to pay a subscription fee, which I think is great. So that basically what they're saying there is it's on its way. It's coming soon, and we'll be able to have access to that. And I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. So let's take a break. We've got many questions. We still have an app cap, but I do want to tell you about another product everybody should be using, and that is, you just sneezed the name, Plex.
Plex.
It's really cool that when he sneezes, it goes, Plex. That's how much we love Plex. Plex is a home media server that lets you organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, photos for free. You can also stream your favorite podcasts, web series, and news for free. There's Plex servers you can run on any computer. I actually run it on my Synology network attached storage, my NAS. And there's Plex clients that run on everything, not just phones and tablets and computers, but also your Fire TV, your Roku, your Apple TV. So essentially, I have, with my Plex server, anywhere in the house, anywhere in the world, anywhere I go, the ability to log in and watch my content. Now, I also bought the Plex Pass. Plex Pass. I bought the lifetime Plex Pass, but you can get it for less than $5 a month. Then you get even more. You get even more, but you don't need it. You can do all the stuff you want to do for free, but you also get offline accessibility. So, before we hit the road in a couple of weeks, we're going to download movies and TV shows to our iPads so we can watch them on the go. Music and photos, too. Anything on your Plex server. You can also, and this is the project I'm going to be working on this year, I want to replace all my cable boxes and all my TiVos with my Plex and a Silicon Dust home run, which will let me watch live broadcast TV, will let me DVR anything into my Plex server, right?
Yes.
And watch it anywhere, not just at home, but on the road. You do need an antenna and a tuner. I'm going to get the Silicon Dust HD Home Run Prime. It has 6 tuners in it. I put it on my network. It automatically works with Plex, so I can automatically record onto my Plex server. Now I've got the best DVR system in the world. And the one I want to get supports cable cards, so I don't need my cable boxes anymore. I put the cable card in there. This is going to be nirvana. Now, I'm still waiting because the Silicon Dust hasn't come out with a 6-tuner one, but it says it's going to come out this year. We'll talk about it, and I'll show you when I set it up. It's one more reason why Plex is just the thing to have in your house. They now have premium music features. I know you saw that and got very excited about that.
Yes.
Lyrics, custom curated playlists based on music preferences. You should really own your media environment. You shouldn't just rely on Netflix to organize it for you. You need Plex. And what I love, I just drop the movies and the TV shows in the Plex folder. It automatically gives me a cinema-like lean-back experience. You can watch your personal movie collection, but you get trailers, behind-the-scene features, never-before-seen footage. They look up the box art and they put that up there for you. That's my favorite
part, not having to do all of that on my own.
It actually looks better than iTunes. It looks, it's so great. They now have news, too, customized news. Quick access to over 190 sources and more all the time for national, international, and local news, covering over 80% of the U.S. markets, and that will go to any streaming player. You can have multiple users, everybody in your family. You don't have to be limited to 6 people. It's
cough.
I don't know who would do that. You can have everybody have their own account. It's easy to switch users. So when Lisa fires up Plex on the Apple TV, she can log into her Plex and have her stuff there. Parental controls so the kids can have an account, but you can keep it limited to stuff that's appropriate for them. And with Plex Pass, you also get Plex Pass perks, exclusive access to promos and discounts on partner products. And you get to use the new features before anyone else. We were able to use the new interface, which I love. It's out now, but we were able to use it before anybody else, and I just fell in love. Cut the cable cord. Save big. Plex is offering you a 30-day free trial right now of Plex Pass, so you can see all the premium features. Again, Plex works great without it, but I think it's worth at least seeing what Plex Pass will do. Go to plex.tv/twit, enter the code TWIT to start your free trial of Plex Pass today. We have spoken highly of Plex for years, and you ought to have it. Everybody ought to have Plex. Plex.tv/twit. Don't forget the offer code TWIT for the 30-day free trial. Thank you, Plex, for supporting iOS today and for keeping my media habits in line.
Keeping them in check.
Keep them in check. So let's get some questions from you, our fabulous audience members.
Fabulous. Like Russell from somewhere Indiana, who says this. Leo mentioned joining Discord for after live show comments. Would love to, but every time I try to join a server and the choices are start a server or join a server, the latter requires an invite. It does not appear to be as simple as just join twit.community.
That's because we're not on Discord.
Say that again?
It's Discourse.
Discourse.
And actually, the easiest thing to do is just fire up your web browser. You could do it in Safari. Go to twit.community. Twit.community. That'll launch it. You can easily, there is a Discourse app for iOS, and if you don't want to see the URL bar, you just want a clean experience, but it's really just a frame on the Twit community. But you can also do this in Safari, and then just save this to your home screen, and it'll say Twit Forums, and now it has a nice little Twit icon and everything. Yep. And you'll go in. I've already done that here, and I'm already logged in, so let me do that. And this is our newest thing. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Mikah's in there. Matthew's in there. We have all the Twitch shows have their own categories, so you can go to an individual show, like, let's say, iOS Today, and see what people are talking about. When new shows come out, they'll automatically, thanks to Zapier, be posted to iOS Today or wherever, so you can see, if you go to Twitch shows, all the latest shows. Look at that. Smart Tech Today #1, voice assistants in your ear. You can also meet our hosts. Not everybody's in there yet. I didn't make it mandatory, but I am, Mikah is, Matthew is, and many of our other hosts.
Pruitt is definitely in there.
It's big time in there. I don't know. We still can't figure out why he's a red dot, but I'll figure that out at some point. There's also a place for you to have general discussions about anything you want. And we have I made a tech talk section because I figure a lot of people are going to want to talk about tech. So we've divided that up into operating systems and different topics like gaming and coding, photography. So if you want to talk tech, it's a great place to go. I really think of this as my new social network because I would truthfully prefer to hang out with people who listen and watch to Twit and all of our shows. That's a higher quality group than the people on Twitter, Facebook, and other social networks. Right. If you liked Google Plus, it's very much like that. I'm really proud of it. We just thought, let's try it, see what's happening. Well, yeah. It's taken off. Twit.community. There is an app on iOS. It's called Discourse Hub. Again, not Discord. That's a chat app. That's a separate app that came later. Discourse Hub. You can download it. You do need to understand, unfortunately, you can't just type twit.community. You have to type www.twit.community. That's just a weird thing about Discourse. But if you do that, you can use the app. It'll give you exactly the same interface. By the way, a lot of people say, I don't like light mode. If you're a dark mode user, just hit the hamburger, the little menu up here in the corner next to your picture, and you could choose dark, light, minima, graceful. That's the default material design. And Vincent, which is actually the really pretty dark theme. If you choose Vincent, it'll automatically go dark for you, and you can use that if you want. But the light mode theme is just the default because Mikah made us a nice little bug, and it looks best in light mode. That's frankly why it's the default.
Yeah, I need to think about a different one for dark mode.
There is, I'll figure, we've only had it for 2 weeks. We're kind of learning how to use it. I'm the admin. We have a lot of moderators. All the hosts are in there as leaders. I have found a plugin that will let us have different logos for light and dark. So we'll make that.
We're thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of little tweaks and customizations I want to do as an administrator, and so that's one of them. If you want to change your settings, your interfaces, that's a little complicated. You hit your head, type your name, and there's the preferences, and you can change all your preferences, including the interface preference. My suggestion, we default to categories, but maybe after you've learned all the categories, you might want to choose a different default homepage, latest, new, unread, or top. Categories is a great place to start, and that's where interface is also where you could say, I don't want to be dark. I want to be graceful.
Oh, very graceful. You are so graceful.
Gone back to graceful. I think it's a nice place.
By gum, by golly, you're so graceful.
A lot of the Twit staff is in there as well, so you're welcome. We'd love to have you. What else?
What else? Well, let's move on to the next topic instead of me adjusting my settings on Discourse.
It's fun, isn't it?
Discourse. Yeah.
One of the reasons I was late today is I couldn't stop posting.
Because I got the notifications.
It's like 9:30. I'm putting new posts in there. You're going, Leo.
Well, I got excited because it was like 8 a.m. and I saw Leo.
Oh no, I get up at 7.
Posted a notification. I was
There's
like, he's going to be on time today.
There's no reason I can't be here. It's a mental problem I have.
As long as you're not in a ditch. All right, Ramona, also from somewhere Indiana. I have a simple question, and I feel really dumb for having to ask it. First of all, never feel dumb for asking questions. That makes you smart. Where the heck is search on the iPad? I can swipe right from the home page on my phone and search is there, but all I get on my iPad is a shortcuts bar. Help! Well, Ramona, it's actually a rather simple thing. If you put your finger onto your home screen, and remember, you can't rest it there for too long because then it might think that you're trying to tap an app, and you swipe down, then
up at the top, there's
search pops up there. So again, I'll show that. I just put my finger somewhere on the screen and swipe down, and search comes up. And this is actually something you can do on your iPhone as well. Finger on the screen, swipe down, search is there. So that's that.
I had a friend's iPhone. She was asking, how do I do something? And I'm swiping the corner down again and again to get to Control Center because that's how it works on modern iPhones.
Oh no, it was an old school iPhone.
And she said, you don't know how to use this, do you? I said, it works. I don't. And I realized, I have to swipe up from the bottom
like some kind of animal.
So don't blame yourself. Apple keeps changing this stuff and how it works. And they've made some massive changes in iOS 12 and 13. I mean, no more home button, all sorts of stuff. So don't
Please don't.
yourself.
It really, it breaks my grandma sometimes when something's not working. It's always she's blaming herself. I'm like, don't. It's not like this is technology that should be working for you, and we can figure out how it needs to be done, and we will, teach you.
What my motto has been for 20 years?
Dumb because you don't know it.
It was the motto on Call for Help way back in 1998. It's still true today. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It's the computer industry's fault. If they made this stuff easy to use, you and I would be out of work, Mikah.
This is true.
So it's not your fault, and thank you, computer industry.
We blame you and we love you.
Yes. Keep up the good work.
Warren from Colorado. I travel on business around 6 months of the year. I've been trying to use Apple Maps more due to all the work Apple has been putting into it and recent updates they've pushed out with iOS 13. But it's really been letting me down lately.
Yeah.
Whether by trying to get me to ram through a locked gate to access a turnpike, nonsensical U-turns, or getting off a highway only to get back on the same highway a fourth of a mile later.
Oh, dear.
Is there any way to report these troubling and sometimes dangerous faux pas?
That's a great question.
There is a way to report these troubling and sometimes dangerous faux pas.
By the way, all maps have some problems. I have to say, because Apple Maps came later to the game than Google, they're still catching up, and so they're not perfect everywhere. They tend to do better in metro areas, but your help will make it better.
Yeah, so we're going to go to settings, and we're going to scroll down until we get to maps.
You should be able to do this in Maps. That's too bad. You have to go to settings.
You can. But what I want to do is I want to show the feature for follow-up by email. So in the actual Maps app, you will be able to report issues. But if you want to make sure that those issues are heard and that they're being answered, then go into the settings first and under issue reporting, choose follow up by email, make sure that's on. That way, Apple will let you know when the setting has been updated or if you're adding a new location or something like that.
Nice.
So we'll start there, then we'll go into Maps. And then it's kind of hard because we're not doing some sort of, location thing. But if I tap on the, while you're routing and you see something that happens, of course, pull over, make sure you're not driving while you're doing this. But tap the information button, which is in the top right corner of the screen. And then there is an option that says report an issue. So I will tap report an issue. And then you can see that there are all of these different types. So there are map labels that might be wrong, transit issues. And then there are personal ones where I can make my home location, the address might not be exactly with the GPS. And so I can make those adjustments to make it a little bit better, as well as my work location. And then, of course, there are other issues that you might have. But yours would probably be either a map issue or an other issue. So we'll tap on map labels, for example. And here I can say, hey, this is the label that I want to change, and this is what it currently is, and here's some more information about that. So again, we tap the information button, and then we tap report an issue.
That's good. And you're really helping it, especially in rural areas where Apple is not sending cars out all the time. You're helping it be more accurate, more reliable. So that's a great thing.
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
And that is all the questions they had for us.
Well, my goodness. I think that means it's time to wear a funny hat.
I think it is. By golly, by gum.
Why, Mikah? Why do we wear these ridiculous outfits?
We wear these ridiculous...
Oh, you're a giant fish.
Hats. Blub, blub.
You look like Nemo.
Rub-a-dub-dub, blubbity-blub.
You're a clownfish.
Oh.
And I am going for a ride in my biplane. Or am I, I never knew with this whether it was a World War I flying ace helmet or an early football helmet.
Oh.
They look so much alike.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
I could tackle you right now.
I would only suffer a severe concussion.
Just a severe one. We are wearing these hats because we are honoring the apps that we love.
I think I'm wearing mine backwards.
I was wondering if it was backward. There we go.
Does it look better?
That looks better that way.
Okay.
Yeah, now you look ready to take flight.
You're my fashion
or play
consultant.
a football. Play with a football. One of the two. Is this rugby, sir? I don't know. I don't know what I'm ready to do. Atlantic, Pacific. Anyway, let's talk about our apps of the week. I don't know what yours is.
No, you don't, because I haven't told you.
Because he hasn't told me yet. But mine is an app called Focos.
I love Focus.
Focos.
From the Halide fellas.
Is that true?
No. It's not.
I don't think so.
I was thinking of something else.
Focos, F-O-C-O-S.
I have Focos. I like Focos.
I
was thinking the one the Halide does that does long shutter,
Oh, yeah. What
long
is that
exposures.
one called? I don't remember. But this one is an app specifically meant for portrait mode photography. So in this little yellow circle down at the bottom, it will show you a gradient map to show you the depth that it is sensing. And it's hard. There's no way for me to really show this, but I'm going to...
What's nice, this is especially useful for people who don't have the latest iPhones, because it'll give you depth information
even if
phones
you don't have it.
that don't support that, which is great.
So I've taken a photo here of Leo, and it is automatically, it says depth data has been optimized for a portrait. And so quite quickly we can zoom in and sort of see what the background looks like.
Oh, interesting. It does this with pets too, which is nice.
Yes, it does. Oh, the light is, sorry. And so I can
look at
increase
that.
or decrease what is that called? The focal?
The aperture.
The aperture, yes, that's the word.
So the wider open it is, the
Less
more
blur.
blurry the background will be.
Oh, I see.
More closed it is, it's like a pinhole camera. Everything's in focus if you have a very narrow aperture.
And so we'll change
That's
that
nice.
to...
It really works.
But here's where things get magical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tap on this little lens button here. Well, first of all, let me show you. So I can change the size of the aperture, the shape of the aperture, including...
That's fun for fun little background. Now, you didn't get a
bokeh, right?
Yeah, and the little Apple bokeh. You didn't get the You didn't get enough of the dots, but if you're taking a picture of a Christmas tree, for instance, or Halloween lights, and you can make them be a shape, it really is fun.
And look how much you can do here. We can change the oval shape of the lens, if there's a matte box on it, and whether there's an LED flash. Now, I'm going to tap again on the lens button here, and I can choose lens profiles that will adjust the blur in the background, as well as sort of adjust the distortion of the photo, depending. And then this is where I think the magic truly happens, when I tap on the light button. Now it's going to show me your photo in 3D space, showing the layers of depth from the back to the front.
What magic is this?
And what's super cool, I'm not going to show it here because it requires too much moving around of my phone, but you can actually drop this in augmented reality and walk around it and see how the photo looks. But this is not just for fun to see sort of where the photo is. It is because I can add digital lights to this photo.
No. What is that?
So that's like a light. It's a soft box. It's a light box, and I can change where the light is shining.
Oh, it is changing the look of the. Oh, this is really cool.
And so I could put it so that it's only lighting the background.
Now, are some features only available on the iPhone 11, or does this work on even if you're using an older iPhone?
It's my understanding that as long as you are, like, if you're using the app's depth sensor, then it's not going to have this level of detail. This is using, your actual iPhone's depth sensing technology.
So cool.
And I could change the color of these lights, the shadows, the diffusing. And then I could go in if I wanted to and say, oh, it didn't do a great job of picking out the front and the back of the photo. And so I can actually see the layers of depth here.
This is a great tool.
And I can paint to add to that depth or take away from that depth.
Now, it's not going to stay red, but it's just, what the?
So this is showing the front, this is the area that's directly in focus right here in between. And this is the part that's blurry in the back and the part that's blurry in the front. Yeah, so I could adjust it so that there's more in focus. And then I'll tap the check mark and then come back. And you can see there's an adjustment there.
You made it focus on the mic. That's really cool.
So this app, this is for cropping. But anyway, there are a bajillion features within this app. Yeah. There are many features that are available for free. I'm trying to get into my iPad so I can see the prices.
By the way, it was Spectre was the other app from the Halide folks, the long exposure app. But you can see Focos, F-O-C-O-S, has a central place on my iPhone because I love this app. I think it's really, really cool.
And we're getting back in so I can tell you that it has many features available for free. You can pay for the extra lenses and some of the more the light feature requires either. What I love, they have a lifetime unlimited access purchase button for $13 for $12.99. Buy it.
Yep.
And for the rest of time, you can make all of these adjustments to these photos however you like. Really nice. Or you can do a yearly subscription of $8 or a monthly subscription of 99 cents per month. But $13 one time and you're good to go for all of life. And you can use this not only with new photos that you take within the app, but any photos, any profile photo, or what am I trying to say, portrait mode photos that you have in your library, you can import those.
Because it already has the depth information, so you can then use it. Yeah, I noticed I paid the $13 for lifetime because I don't want another subscription. And you know what? I'm going to use this enough to justify $13. That's really a great app. F-O-C-O-S.
Focos.
I neglected to send you the name of my app. I apologize.
I've been waiting with bated breath.
I apologize.
We need a shortcut for that. When you are on your way, you can also send your app cap.
This was... I got suckered.
Uh-oh.
Because they had a big announcement, this company, that the version 3 came out, and it's now free. But it's only free for a month. It's just like any other app. There's a premium subscription to it. However, I fell for it, downloaded it, and said, well, wait a minute. This is worth paying for. This is the best mail app on iOS, and I have tried them all.
Excuse me?
This is a replacement for Apple's Mail, but all the other ones you may have used, and I've shown a lot of them, and I've talked a lot about them.
What?
This is called Canary. First of all, I love this. It's got an it's got an app lock on it. Okay. And I'm using it in light mode. There's a dark mode. This is an incredibly sophisticated email program. A couple of things that I look for when I'm looking at email. Let me go to a section of my email. By the way, this works out of the box with Apple Mail on iCloud, with Google Mail, with Microsoft's Outlook. But in my case, I immediately used it. Let's not go see all my credit card transactions. How about I'm just trying to find a simple, safe place. I'm using it with Fastmail, which is an IMAP server. So it works just fine. You could see it downloaded all of the folders, and it does it automatically. Here's my Twit inbox and so forth. I mean, it really does a nice job. But wait till you get into the settings, because this is a power tool for email. So as it looks right now, it's really very much like Apple Mail, right? You'll see the mail and so forth. You'll notice, though, a few interesting things at the bottom here. You can pin it. You can schedule it, say, snooze this email till another date and time. You can, as with any email package, file it away. Of course, reply to it. And then you also have some additional things. Unsubscribe, which is a great feature. You can say it's spam. You can star it. That's a marking it, flagging it. You can move it and you can delete it. But let me go into the settings, because that's when all of the stuff, the magic happens. iCloud Sync lets you sync your accounts across all your devices. Always like that. You saw already that it supports security with Face ID, but it also supports PGP.
Ooh.
And there are very few, even Apple Mail doesn't support PGP on iOS. It does support it on the Mac, but it doesn't support it on iOS. I use PGP. Yeah, you can use it to encrypt mail, but mostly what I use it to sign mail, so that you know that the mail, if you're getting it from me, came from me and hasn't been modified on the way. And so having PGP available is huge for me. I automatically sign by default. I don't encrypt by default, but you could, if you wanted to, if you had a correspondent that you used PGP mail with. You can add your keys very easily. You just press the keys button, and it will add your secret key, so you can paste it in, or you can get it from Dropbox or somewhere else. Once it's in there, it will store the password, the passphrase, if you ask it to. I
need to ask you how to get one of these keys.
I'll set you up. This program will also generate a key for you, so you can also do it that way. You can, as with most modern mail programs, just say which swipe actions you want. You have the swipe left and right thing. That seems to be very much a big part of it. You also have control of these buttons at the bottom, so you can. I showed you a few, but you can change what the highlighted ones do. You can choose what snooze times you want to see or don't want to see. Shall we go dark? Yeah, you like it dark, man. Active theme, automatic, or light. Let's do automatic. The app icon is dark. It should have been dark. Oh, maybe because it's daytime and it's on automatic. Let's see what other. See, it didn't.
Do you have light mode turned on right now, though?
Yeah, remember? He made me turn on light mode, son of a gun.
What?
Meanie. Matthew, you
turkey.
So, just to make you feel better. I love the app lock.
I can finally see what's on the screen.
And here we are in dark mode.
And here we are in dark mode.
So it supports iOS 13 dark mode. What
My
else?
retinas are no longer burning. How nice.
Isn't that nice? This is another nice
browser. That's nice.
Another nice feature. If you send an email a lot, you can do templates. So you can have a default template, or you can have ones that you can choose from a menu that will automatically say,
like yours, which starts with yo, yo, yo always.
Yo, yo, yo.
We know
I'm
those
hip.
are, Leo's emails.
You can do read receipts. This is a very controversial thing. I always turn that off, but you can request receipts.
And signatures, which is nice.
And I always have, I have a standard signature I put in all my email. The default will be set from Canary, so don't do that.
Ew. Sit with my iPad.
Yeah, Apple does the same thing. So, I think change your default. So I think really a very nice, very powerful. I'm always interested in the ability to use PGP. I was a little disappointed to find out it wasn't free, but they have updated it with 3.0. You can use it for free, $10 more, one time only, which was a change. It used to be a subscription app. You get additional features, and I think there are additional pro features as well. So there are a number of in-app purchases. What you're seeing there is the $10 one-time fee version of it. I'm not sure what you get with spending more for pro, but I spent $10, and I think it's worth it.
It does support Siri Shortcuts chat.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It also has Apple Pencil support and can do OCR business card scans for those few people in the world who still hand out business cards.
What I do when somebody gives me a business card, I do OCR and I hand it back to them saying, that costs money. You keep that. I don't need it. It's in my phone
I appreciate the gesture,
so
but you keep that.
Canary is on my phone as well. It's on, you pay once and it's on your phone and it's on your iPad.
An attachments browser is very handy. Oftentimes I'm like looking back through mail. I just want to look for attachments. There's a browser just to look at the different things that have been attached to your email recently.
It's really,
I like that.
I think it's very thoughtful. I use a lot of email programs, always looking for the perfect email program. And I have to say, I feel like this is the one, at least for iPad particularly, because I want to use the iPad well, that makes it every bit as good as a desktop email app. So I'm very happy to see.
What do you use on the desktop?
Canary. I use a program called MailMate for macOS, which is not free. And in fact, I donate to them regularly as well as pay for it because he does such a good job. It is a power tool, but and I would love to have something MailMate like on the iPad, but maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense. This is a great kind of MailMate Lite. And the fact that it uses PGP is really important to me.
Yeah.
Canary.
It's very neat.
Yeah, I think they've done a really, really nice job. Yeah. This is version 3 just came out, and while not free, I think $10 not a subscription, but one time only is well worth it for a great email program. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So we've got Focos and Canary.
And that's our show for the day. Thank you so much for being here. We do iOS today when Leo gets here. Soon to be a major shortcut. I'm not in a ditch. I'm on my way.
Tell Mikah I'm not in a ditch.
Usually around 9:30 Pacific. That's 12:30 Eastern time. That's, well, for now, it's 16:30 UTC. But that's going to change in about a month. We'll change to standard time. At that point, it'll change. But for those of you, for instance, in Australia, already on summertime, we've moved relative to you, but the UTC does not. So that's why we tell you what the UTC time is.
If you want to join us here in the studio,
we love having a live studio audience.
Early.
Yeah.
But no, we would love to have you. You get to pick out the hats if you come, and hang out with me while we both wait for Leo. So we'll wait for that shortcut. We'll wait for that shortcut to come in, and we can both excitedly look at the map and make sure he's not in a ditch. You do that by emailing tickets@twit.tv. That'll get you all signed up and everything you need to do there. Of course, if you want to watch live, I don't think you mentioned that part. Maybe you did. Twit.tv/live to hang out with us in
live audio or video. You can even ask your Amazon Echo or your Shlomo or whoever you talk to when you're all alone. Say, hey, boo-boo. Listen to Twit Live, and it will start playing whatever's going on. Or listen to iOS Today, and it'll give you the most recent episode. I like that feature. If you have questions, email this guy.
Yeah, iOS Today at twit.tv. That is iOS Today at twit.tv. And we will have your questions. We've got some audio questions sent in. Feel free to send in some audio and video. All those things are fun. We love it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the show. If you head to twit.tv/iOS, we've got links to all the different ways you can subscribe.
Subscribing helps us an awful lot and makes it easier for you. You don't have to worry about it. You'll have the show the minute it's available. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on iOS Today. Bye-bye.